Today we are diving into the darker side of internet culture, the world of horrorcows. While lolcows are typically people mocked online for laughs, they are just harmless and often just bizarre, but horrorcows are something else entirely. Their personalities and behaviors aren't just laughably weird, they often cross into the shocking, disturbing and sometimes genuinely unsettling territory, because sometimes the scariest monsters aren't the one in movies or video games, sometimes they're the one we pass by in everyday life, which seem quite normal at first glance. Unfortunately, some individuals were straightforward with their disturbing beliefs and desires. Sadly, nobody bothered to care until their actions spill into the real world, sometimes with devastating consequences. Now, before we get started, a quick disclaimer. This video is edited to comply with YouTube's guidelines, but it still contains sensitive material, so viewer discretion is strongly advised. I'm Snorky, your guide through today's video, and if you're into Iceberg charts about unsettling personalities and obscure internet culture, you're at the right place. This is a supercut video of my Horrorcow series, without the boring intros and outros. Plus this video includes timestamps for easier navigation, so you don't need to sit through the whole video in one sitting. And you certainly know how Iceberg chart works. We will first start with extreme versions of lolcows and slowly dip our feet into horrorcow territory. Alright, I hope your snorkels are ready as you're going in for a deep dive with Snorky.
You're 11. Good. Now I'm away from that annoying fuck of a kid who I would have slapped in real fucking life if they talked to me like that. I would have fucking him slapped that shit out of that.
The story of 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥𝙡𝙖 is an intriguing tale about a streamer whose self-entitlement and provocations led him to be known as the King of Hate. Over the years he received constant trolling and negative backlash. He is known for numerous controversial incidents and outbursts over the years.
This is insanity! I'm done. This is over. I'm done. I'm not redoing it. I'm done. She's gonna heal him. I'm done. I'm done. It's over. It's over. Goodbye.
But besides that, Phil is best known for his live commentary videos while playing games. Darkside Phil began his career in 2008 on his original channel. He started his online career with a playthrough of Fallout 3, a post-apocalyptic RPG game by 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥𝙀🙏.
Thanks for doing this for me. Is this it, or has the real party started yet? That's a great answer. I'm using it.
Shut up.
But what really caught the eye of the public was his playthrough of Heavy Rain.
I guess I better get up. I got a lot to do today. Gotta call my mom. I gotta take out the trash. I'm going back to sleep. I'm tired. Alright, I'll get up.
But his popularity would also grow with the playthroughs of games such as Call of Duty and the Mass Effect games. His obsession with gaming led him that in the summer of 2010, Phil lost his normal job as a result and partnered with Machinima in the fall of 2010, thus making him a full-time YouTuber.
Fans over there to explain. I think it's gonna be good. So I'm calling upon the hate army. I rarely do this, but I need you guys definitely to help us out with this endeavor. We want the trailer to do well. We want the series to do well on Machinima, and it's gonna take your help.
His goal was clear, but his future was not so. Also, we can consider him as one of the OGs, I guess. But Phil goes way back with his gaming career, as in the 90s he developed a special love for Capcom games, especially Street Fighter. This love was so hard that he even participated in tournaments all over the country, when gaming was still a niche hobby to have and was associated with nerds. Something he is quite well known now, but was also back then, was to taunt and offend his enemies.
Where am I playing? You still haven't told me. Jesus Christ, I treat you like you're a...
Also, he wasn't a very good player, mostly losing with the occasional win here and there, and that's the reason why many people didn't like to play with him. But in recent times when Phil played games, he would often ignore very important gameplay mechanics, such as seen in his playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 2 and Black Mesa. In Metal Gear Solid 2 he struggled to use health rations and stealth techniques.
Should go grab these rations, I don't understand how to eat. How do I eat the rations? This is just weapon changes. Oh, should we get... I don't know how to use my rations. I have no idea.
He blamed a crouch jump issue on a game bug rather than his own mistake. I mean, he made every game he played unnecessarily hard because of this. And the result was that he would die more often than he normally should, which led to rage and calling the developers not so nice names and slurs.
Punch the switch. How do you punch the fucking switch? I'm so tired of this shit. Kojima's a fucking cocksucker. Oh my god! Oh my god! I thought that I was done.
People would often make fun of him because of this, and Phil wasn't happy about this. In April of 2010, Phil's playthroughs of Splinter Cell Conviction was interrupted when he received a fake copyright strike from a troll. This incident led to creation of multiple YouTube accounts, including DSP Gaming, which remains his main channel today.
Do this childish shit on YouTube. If you thought it was funny to dox me, if you thought it was the DDoS attacks were funny, you almost got me killed. You. Yes, you. You're responsible. And if you are a human and you have morality in you, you should understand that. You contributed to it. Because no one thought of me in a negative light until that shit started. No one. People understood it was off-color jokes. It was just Phil trying to be funny. And, you know, I've told you, I'm an imperfect human. I'm certainly not perfect. There have been times when I made mistakes. That doesn't mean that people should fucking die. So, fuck you.
To have a fear of trolls is always good. Also, people started to making a series called "This is how you not play," insert any game name here, from Witcher to Dark Souls, and the videos were mostly about Phil. And those things would get really on his nerves.
You know, that's the real attitude to have when you're in life, when you're facing overwhelming adversity against you. Overwhelming amounts of unfair treatment, hate, slander. The best way is to just do your thing positively. Don't address it, because the more you address it, it just moves the goalpost and it just becomes worse and worse. Because that's what happened. Originally, it used to be like, oh, this is how you don't play? Fuck people. They're stealing my content. They're taking it on. You know, I would rage and do videos about it. And what would happen? It would just make it worse. It would just make it worse and worse and worse and worse, right? So there's no reason to waste time on it anymore. That's why you don't ever hear me address it anymore. If we see a fucking bullshit, slanderous meme on the stream, you're fucking out of here, and we just continue on with the positive content.
Phil's streams are known for his offensive language and outbursts, often blaming game developers, other players, or the game themselves for his failure, which can be considered a quite narcissistic thing to do. I mean, he is perfect, and it wasn't his fault that he wasn't good at the game. But the most popular stream was streamed on May 1st, 2016, when Phil was preparing for a live stream. Because the game he wanted to play was quite hard and things can get a bit heated up during the streams, he decided to release some pressure beforehand. Phil left his camera on and the viewers had a sight to see. He was playing with his, let's say, Xbox dongle in front of all of his audience with his head held up high. And it was even mentioned by Keemstar on Drama Alert.
Hello, hello, and welcome. Oh, the camera's on.
Soon, Photoshop memes were made with his face from that event. This moment quickly spread across the internet, becoming a widely circulated meme and bringing a significant amount of negative attention to Phil. The incident not only embarrassed Phil, but also reinforced his image as a controversial figure within the streaming community. Over the years, Phil would also stream on different platforms, including Blip.tv, but his career on Blip was cut short, because in 2010 he was banned for anti-Semitic remarks that he made during a Dead Space 2 playthrough.
You've let the Jews overrun space, and now look at this. Their greed has had the artifact turn everyone into necromorphs. So now I, the last remaining, must exterminate them. Hello.
He is definitely considered as a toxic guy, and many people on YouTube have become very critical of Phil. Mostly because of his action and personalities, he has been called a hypocrite, liar, man-child, among many other names. And please be aware, that you don't send any hates towards him, as this video is for educational purposes only. You know how this goes. He often created videos about all the criticism about him, which he just brushed off as jealous haters and trolls. He laughs at people's supposed immaturity when they challenge his statements. He also brands anyone who finds anything of him controversial as a drama queen. So I guess I'm a drama queen now. Ain't that a cute nickname?
But I don't want to hear people now saying, oh, Phil's ungrateful because he got a bunch of super chats today and he's saying that he still needs help. Fuck you. No, really, again, fuck you. Because you know what I'm asking for. Help now. To pay for the games coming up now. To pay my bills coming up now. Not things in December. Things now. You're not helping by coming on this stream and being a to me and acting like I'm being ungrateful because someone's doing a super chat. No, I'm very grateful. The super chats help, but they don't help me now.
Many have taken issues with Phil's style of commentary, because he loves to make burps and snort sounds. Well, yes and no. Well, I think that's more about how he likes to make toilet humor jokes and being overdramatic. Plus, having sex remarks about female characters isn't helping at all. Again, I'm a bit limited here, so I can't really tell you all the things he's done or said, but Phil is so great that he actually made a compilation of his most racist outbursts, which is really generous of him. People would do everything to hide their not so proudest moments, but Phil doesn't feel any shame. Also, have you played the Telltale's Walking Dead? This highly immersive story-driven game is quite good, and do yourself a favor if you didn't play it and play it. Now, during his playthrough of The Walking Dead Season 2, while playing Clementine, who was a young child who was about to get her arm stitched, Phil thought it would be funny to make sexual noises while she screamed in pain.
Oh! 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 Ah!
Which shows you his type of humor. As a YouTuber who started in the gaming corner of the platform, I needed to point that out. But besides his vulgar, edgy style, he would also frequently delete his videos and ban users if they say something he didn't like.
Dude, Ninstar Rune, you can go fuck yourself and never come back. And I mean that. Don't ever ask to come back, because you're not the kind of person I want watching the stream. I can make do without Ninstar Rune being a 50-bit bitch and derailing my streams with negativity, nonsense, and stupid shit. We're all trying to have a good time on the stream, and we gotta be derailed by an idiot. Go fuck yourself, don't ever come back. Alright? That's simple.
To be honest, it's quite hard to boil down everything this guy said and did in the last 15 or 20 years he was online. But what is obvious is that Phil suffers from some type of narcissistic personality disorder, as he never admits to his mistakes and blames everyone and everything else for his own problems. Do you remember when I said he was banned from Blip for his remarks about the Jews? He immediately claimed that the report was false and that the person who reported him did it out of jealousy because of his popularity. Yeah, sure buddy, whatever I guess.
Phil is far from the only 28-year-old that has found themselves laid off from their jobs and in financial straits, but instead of sucking up his pride and taking a crappy job and moving back in with his parents, he's decided to panhandle his fan base. The relationship that DSP has with the fans is now totally based on money, and I fail to see how such a situation can end any way but badly. Save your pennies for your personal rainy days ahead and force Phil to be accountable for himself. Holy shit. This guy fucking so jealous of my popularity and the fact that for 4 or 5 months now, yeah, I've been able to turn this into a business per se and been able to support myself, that he is me falsely to websites to try to get me banned, and so I have to stop doing this for a living. Wow, you are a head.
Well, almost any criticism since then was simply brushed off, saying that people are jealous. He would also often e-bag online by hiding his true intentions.
Hello everybody, it's Dark Side Phil. I need that money to pay my bills, the electric bill, the internet bill, stupid bills, man. I just want to chill. I rock back and forth on the X and Y axis, tip me, so I could catch up on back taxes.
In January of 2020, Phil filed for bankruptcy to avoid paying $500,000 debt In a nutshell, Phil genuinely believes that he is a good person who has never done anything wrong or hurt anyone and considers himself as a victim of unfair hate. He also thinks he was targeted without valid reasons.
Who likes to illegally restream my fucking streams and has an army of trolls who are the only reason why he has any notoriety is because he copies my shit, and he eggs his trolls on to do negative shit like this, to come to my stream and to basically make fun of my girlfriend and do nasty shit. It's his fault that this kind of stuff happens.
However, a closer examination reveals a different reality. He often exhibits manipulative behavior, bullying and abusive behavior towards strangers, fans, friends and family to gain money. He shamelessly manipulates people and will say or do anything to achieve his goals, showing little regard for those he harms in the process. At least it seems so. Perhaps Phil is a weak entry for a horror cow, but again, this is only the first entry on this layer.
I don't have money to do it. 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 It was, I would
be doing the 100 layers of foam challenge as suggested to me by my friend Shane Dawson on Twitter.
I don't know why I subject myself to things like this. Sometimes I find quite interesting stories, and many times they are very disturbing, like the Danny Phantom case, which completely blew me away. The insight Danny gave us in his life was quite interesting, yet unsettling. And then I entry like Trish lands on my table and suddenly my mouse starts to look like a weapon I want to use against myself to relieve me of the pain by looking at her content. But that's why she's the perfect fit for this list. I mean, people on change.org petitioned to remove Trisha from the internet for good.
I don't mean this to be like racist, but okay, well, it's gonna come out racist anyways, but there's just these 6 really scary looking guys, and I think they'd be scary whether they were white or...
Again, I know many horror cows are people with more disturbing backgrounds, but again, we are just at the tip of the iceberg. And I think Trisha deserves a place here. Trisha is not only a YouTuber but also a rapper, actress, scammer and annoying among many other things.
Yeah, we used metal straws instead of plastic straws for the turtles, but you saw that the turtles still survived, so let's stop eating animals.
Yesterday.
Oh, I think it's making me horny.
Who is Trisha? Well, if you know We Made You by Eminem, she was the chick who portrayed the obese Jessica Simpson. But besides that, she is quite a rabbit hole I wasn't prepared to get into. But here we are. Now for real, who is Trisha Paytas?
Woke up this morning feeling like a chicken nugget.
Well, hard to tell as her YouTube channel is quite interesting and I can't get a grasp of how she managed to get so much spotlight over the years. She is a person who was continually caught lying and scamming people.
Well, what if it was so bad?
Hitler can't be all bad and he had this big following.
So it's really hard to keep track of who she is. But one thing we know for sure is that Trisha is famous. I think she managed to be around the right people at the right time. This is the only explanation. Well, and we can avoid talking about her personality and the aura she projects. But let's talk some more about her. Her YouTube channel consists of wide variety of content, including lifestyle-oriented vlogs, music videos, and mukbangs.
I've always just been attracted to guys, but not straight guys. I've always been attracted to gay guys. So that's why I've always thought maybe I'm a man.
And having the occasional mental breakdown on the kitchen floor while eating. Well, this type of content managed to get 5 million subscribers. With over a decade of being a public figure, you know it's hard to go through everything she did, but we can still touch upon the more bizarre outbursts.
She eats, she gets lipo, she's fat, she's gross, she's skinny, she throws, she's a bad influence, she's problematic, yada 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 yada. I have no identity.
Trisha was raised in Riverside, California with a childhood that was everything but not good. From an early age, she didn't have a father figure and her mother remarried 4 times. And I found out that she worked as a when she was only 14 and eventually spiraled into prostitution, BDSM and drugs, which is just terrible and I don't have any other words for that. At the age of 15, Trisha moved back to California and was enrolled in a Catholic online school program. She returned to Illinois to live with her mother at the age of 16 and attending the high school there. But if something was clear in her life, is that she wanted to be famous, a celebrity, a star, let's say. After moving to LA, she started to pursue her acting career. And on the side she was working as a stripper and escort just to support herself, as her then stepdad threw her out, which led that she spiraled down even harder into drugs and started to have mental problems. I mean, it's no wonder if you really think about it. Over the years, she was featured on various television shows.
Sex will give you STDs, friendships are fake, relationships will cheat on you, family will disown you. Pizza? That's forever.
And even attempting and failing to break the fastest talker record on Guinness World Records Unleashed with 710 words in 55 seconds. I don't know if this is relevant to you, but I wanted to mention as the things that would come out her mouth are quite questionable. Trisha made a number of trolling videos, which she told Business Insider was a way to dumb herself down in order to get more attention and views.
A personal anecdote.
Can we just also say we don't actually need gravity? Like, we actually don't need it.
What do you mean that we don't need gravity?
What if it was never invented?
Invented by who?
Sir Isaac Newton.
Isaac Newton created gravity?
Who created gravity, babe? Dan.
What do you mean we don't need gravity? I'm curious about that
We just
statement.
don't need it.
But like, what do you mean?
The moon doesn't have gravity.
It does.
For example, this involved a video claiming that dogs do not have brains. If this was trolling is quite a mystery. In addition to regularly uploading content to her channels, Trisha has also appeared in films and television programs. As of February 22, Trisha has also published 11 books. But she's also a singer, and in November of 2017, her first single, a cover of 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙆𝙥𝙤 Santa Baby, which was released on December 10. This was followed by several other songs produced by Pete Mills, and the cover reached number 87 on the iTunes Holiday Music Chart, and the music video released on December 12 gained over 200,000 views on the first day. She's definitely a hustler and a player who knows how to use her audience to her advantage to succeed in other branches of the industry.
Well, what if it's so bad?
Can't be all bad if he had this big following.
I don't believe that people can be canceled. You have to go away to be canceled. But, you know, I've definitely trolled for money.
Yeah.
I definitely have said, like, whatever.
Her YouTube career started in 2007 and she is mostly known, well, hard to say, but let's say the most prominent thing is that she was involved in many dramas over the years besides the vlog and mukbang videos.
I'm the new... Who are we still friends with? Nobody?
No one.
Ask everybody.
And I don't wanna get in all the drama she caused, as there are so many. And I don't feel this is the point of this video. I found out that she had a beef with Jeffree Star, David Dobrik, Charlie D'Amelio, Dixie Amelio, Jason Nash, Shane Dawson, Ethan Klein, among many others. It's completely nuts, and there isn't any point to open that can of worms. So as we established, we saw that she was like everywhere, and trust me, I skipped a great deal where she was featured. Her downward spiral is well documented on the internet. She is also very culture insensitive, but that's her thing, I guess, to be noisy and loud to attract people's attention. Like the time she wanted to convert into the Jewish religion, but somehow there was more stuff said and done to offend people than anything else. And if we consider how she praised a infamous German leader of not being such a bad guy, shows how she's really just talking trash, just to offend people so they can start talk about her. Now we need to take a look at her podcast, which was made in collaboration with Ethan Klein from H3, Frenemies.
H3's a hypocrite because he said
That one is tasteless. That one is not good. That's not a good take.
Well,
I've already said the N-word live.
let's not invite
You
anyone.
can't touch me.
It was a big deal because it outperformed Ethan's show, mostly because his show was then on a decline. The podcast was cringe to say at least, Ethan is that weird guy I'm not so fond of, and the thought of Trisha makes my dinner go up every time I hear her speak. That's my 2 cents. Just not my cup of tea.
Gay, homosexual, dated gay.
Gay man. And do you think what would a gay man see in you?
I've dated a gay man for a year and a half.
But like, so what does he get out of dating you? Because you don't. I mean, you look like a female and you don't have a penis, so presumably.
It's just male. It's just the male energy.
It makes me think that you would want to You would want to look more like a male.
No. I like the aesthetic of a woman.
You identify as a man.
I do identify as a man.
Why are you dressed as a female?
It's like my character. It's my job. It's like a drag queen. Like men dress as drag because I appreciate
You're
art and the
drag.
aesthetic.
You're a man in drag.
It's how I look at it. It's like my job, right? Like I show.
But you've always looked like that.
But the public like Ethan's quite cynical style combined with Trisha's over-the-top style and reactions. And I also love how Trisha pressed Ethan to get more money on a live stream, which is just the perfect timing to make demands about your paycheck. By the way, Ethan was featured on the worst YouTubers Iceberg chart if you wanna take a deeper look into his life.
We have to end it now. Like really.
What did I do?
Trisha is quite a unique character, I don't know what to say else. She was numerous times caught making mockeries of gender identities and mental disorders, but also making quite offensive videos and using the N-word, so it's like the full program with her.
For the dogs, for the cats, for the cows, we milk and we milk and we milk and they say ow!
She uses lies and her over-the-top persona to gain attention and popularity, and walk on a very thin line where she tries to defend and call out bad people while doing the exact same thing to gain views. She teased people she got engaged just to relieve it was a cardboard Brad Pitt.
My boyfriend, here he is. He's a little shy, but we've been together now for 6 months.
Then she accused her boyfriend of being gay, but she's also into gay. She also identifies as a fried chicken. Why? Well, because she feels fried inside, and there is so much more here. But I don't wanna waste any more of my breath on her. She is definitely a troll and her life is a fever dream. Who managed to capitalize on every aspect she is, as she accumulated millions of dollars over the years. But the worst part I think is how she also spreads some weird and false diet tips which are quite dangerous, because one day she eats 10 calories in a day and the next one she's fasting on water for 10 days. So she isn't only harming herself but also others, and if you have such a large following on social media, you do have to have a sense for the people who are following you. There are some people who will take everything you say for granted without questioning it, and this can result quite badly, especially if someone is maybe a kid who is still developing. Besides that, she would also promote many weird products which are quite sketchy, and she's currently earning around $800,000 a month, if I'm correct, from being an internet troll. But that's the world we live in, I guess. So let's go to the next entry.
Sproggin, I'm glad to hear you're still black. And thanks for 2 months of support, man. That's a lot of money, I guess, for a person of color, or is it not? I don't know.
Boogie is a being or entity that somehow closely resembles the Phil.
Calm down.
No!
As he shares almost the same vices as he does. Almost.
You're the fat! You're the fat! You're the fat!
What is your problem?
How do you keep calling me fat online?
How do they know you're fat?
I don't know how they know I'm fat! God damn it!
We touch upon Boogie in another chart, but I wanna expand on that entry for those who already saw that iceberg, as Boogie, much like Phil, has a very long and documented history online. He is an old school YouTuber who has gotten himself a ton of hate for his bad behavior and Marty complex.
Reddit and Twitter lost their minds. Oh, are you trying to manipulate people into giving you money?
The answer is yes. Give me some money.
He was caught in multiple lies over time, e-begging. His life is just a story about a fall of once a beloved YouTuber to someone who just wants to views and tips so he can make money. Boogie describes his childhood as a sad period in his life, due to dealing with obesity, lack of friends, and suffering verbal and physical abuse from his mother.
I'm a fatally flawed broken. I'm a fatally flawed broken person. You know, I'm not that different from my mom. I'm not that different from my dad. I've never molested anybody. You know, I didn't beat my kids. I chose not to have kids so I wouldn't do those things.
Boogie started his YouTube career on April 5, 2006 and has been expanding since then, for better or worse. His first video was a 49 clip titled Playing Dungeons and Dragons, which was a simple video showing Boogie playing the game with his friends. His persona felt somehow simple and relatable, just a nerdy guy who likes D&D, cards and games. Because of that, he gained quite a fan base, but over time Boogie would have outbursts on his videos.
I think you are the lowest of the low. I think you are the worst of the worst. I think that there are fucking rapists and Nazis out there who, even though they are rapists and fucking Nazis, they are more redeemable than you, because at least they're doing something they fucking believe in. They may be pieces of garbage. They may be pieces of shit, harm other people, but at least they believe what they fucking stand for. You stand for nothing. You stand for nothing.
That's why also some people think Boogie's former wife, Des, divorced him due to ongoing behavioral issues.
It was Molly.
It's not a fucking named Molly. It's a goddamn Pokemon named Doodoo. Right over there near the campus. I want to go. Can we please go and get go to the Pokemon Center? God damn it! Get your keys.
I just got home from a 10-hour shift. What do you?
I don't give.
Why should I do this for you? What are you gonna do for me?
I'll buy you dinner. Okay, I'll buy you dinner.
With what money?
Loan me $20 and I'll buy you dinner and I'll pay you back when my YouTube money comes in.
In response, Boogie created a video featuring his fictional persona Francis having a mental breakdown and blaming Des for his divorce. Although Boogie later claimed that the video was meant to be funny, many viewers were unsure of his intentions. After the divorce, Boogie started to use dating platform to search for a new love, and he would find Lucy Fox, which eventually also ended. Following their breakup, Fox released a video accusing Boogie of manipulation and abuse, including an incident where he verbally abused her and tried to prevent her from finding employment.
Well, if it's not for me, then nobody can have it. How about that?
Don't touch my tree. Are you kidding me? Stop it.
Which basically means that Boogie has taken Foxy captive, sort of. Due to the lack of concrete evidence, Boogie would appear on Drama Alert and said that all the allegations are fake. So take this with a grain of salt.
Ah! Jesus Christ! Look what you did!
Look what I did. Look
You
what you
ruined
did.
watermelon! You ruined
Clean it up.
watermelon!
But this is the story of how the big nerdy giant turned into a dark and mysterious troll.
Treat myself. So yes, if you guys want to help me pay for my Tesla, please go ahead and dig deep. I sure would like a Tesla. Reach down in your pockets and give me $100,000 tonight. Curfew, I'm...
Or we can say Horrorcow. In the 2023 documentary, The Dark Sad Life of Boogie gave us quite an insight on his life, perhaps more than we ever wanted.
And I don't have any Mountain Dew!
Like, I saw some Mountain Lightning earlier.
Where did you hide the Mountain Dew?
Boogie was shown in his most natural and honest form yet. The hard-hitting news was when it was revealed that Boogie spent over $200,000 on ladies of the night. This would also include buying them dinners, luxury items, and taking them on vacations. This happened sometime between 2018 and 2021. He admitted to enjoy the company of the girls and having funny time with attractive women, especially saying he prefers LA teens over Arkansas 8.
The women I dated were pretty, sure, but they were like Arkansas 8s, not LA 10s. With sugaring, I got to fuck some LA 10s, and I think that's cool.
And this is Boogie at his finest, and I feel bad for all the people who donated money to him so he can spend his money in such a way. An anonymous worker mentioned that her time with Boogie inspired her to leave the industry, start a family and pursue a nursing degree. Now you can only imagine of how much mental damage was Boogie able to do. These revelations led to a widespread criticism of Boogie for his sexist views on women, his extravagant spendings on sex workers, and his sense of entitlement. Especially since the girl in his documentary was nearly 30 years younger than him. The age gap was larger than the actual age of the girl.
I help with the dogs. I get him his water. Like whatever he wants and requests. I just mainly is to take care of.
Many thought Boogie was manipulating her, which is a hard thing to state. Boogie justified his actions by claiming that his status of a YouTuber entitled him to such pleasures. And just like Alex from the previous video, when you feel entitled to do something, you just gotta do it, I guess.
Good luck in 2019. 2018 was really hard. And so am I.
But there are many more things we can touch upon, as he didn't fall from grace just from one incident. Because he's currently unhappy and broke, he's currently living from paycheck to paycheck and from the ad revenue just to survive another month. And he did make a lot of money, but he used it to invest in crypto, where he lost $750,000, plus the hobbies of car collecting, games, and so on.
My health insurance is $800. I have $500 worth of medical bills. I have $500 worth of utilities. I pay for doctor's visits, physical therapies, labs constantly. I still have to pay for the car that I drive. I still have to pay for car insurance. I still have to pay for health insurance. Diablo 4 came out. I had to buy it. Final Fantasy 16 came out. I had to buy it. Tears of the Kingdom came out. I had to buy it. That's $400.
As I mentioned, Boogie in 2019 started to invest in Bitcoin based on advice from his friend Jesse Ridgway. Although Boogie later acknowledged it was a poor investment, he expressed confidence that he would still have the sufficient funds even if he retired from YouTube. However, on October 5th, 2022, Boogie released a video explaining that he lost most of his money due to the cryptocurrency investments and YouTube demonetizations.
I took the advice, but I put my money in the crypto market in the wrong section, and I pretty much lost most of it. That sucks. That really sucks.
He urged his fans to support him by subscribing, liking, commenting, donating money, using the super chat, or buying his merchandise. This video was heavily criticized by the fans and other YouTubers who saw Boogie's pleas for financial support as begging and was even compared to Darkside Phil.
You're kidding! Judge.
Despite all of this, he once again jumped on a train by promoting a crypto thing, which is considered by some as a scam. It feels like he wants to monetize his fans as much as possible. Boogie is quite desperate for any attention. The worst part is that he didn't even pay the loan to buy his $250,000 house, which is just ridiculous considering he lost $750,000 in crypto and $200K on girls. Where are your priorities, man? But fake girls are more important than a roof over his head. But to top it all off, he loves very dark humor, which is quite questionable, and loves to use racial slurs as those are just words.
I think as long as he stops tweeting the N-word, he'll be fine.
The N-word is just a word.
And he made a few public statements that left a mark on his reputation.
You can't teach physics to a dog. And if you're someone stupid enough to think I would ever verbally assault somebody...
Sadly, he isn't only not so nice to other people, but also not to himself. If we go back on August 1, 2017, Boogie received a gastric bypass surgery to help with his morbid obesity. The result was that in February of 2019, Boogie managed to drop from 500 pounds to 347. According to Boogie, this is the lowest he weighed since 1992 when he graduated from high school at 380 pounds.
Meat curtains. There's a second one. I have 2 glorious meat curtains. I don't like showing it to people, and people don't like seeing it. So that's why I'm going to die.
Also, he mentioned he replaced all of his teeth because 17 of 19 were infected due to poor maintenance. And there are many more things wrong with his health. And I wanna end this with a certain case that happened sometime in summer of 2020. A YouTuber named Frank Hassel was terminated. Why? Well, he would harass people publicly, Boogie included. On Twitter, he claimed that Boogie was the one that got his account terminated. For the next few months, there was a fight between them. Eventually, Frank would go to Boogie's house and started threatening him to hurt him and even coming to his house. On September 28, 2020, Frank eventually came to Boogie's house and Boogie threatened him with a gun and told him to leave. After not listening, Boogie fired a warning shot at Frank. He left soon after. It's me being European now, but I'm not used to people just pulling up guns.
There's more footage than that. I can't show it to you because of YouTube's terms and services, but I have handed that footage over to the police, and now it's up to the police to decide what happens next. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for firing a warning shot. I don't know if Frank is going to get in trouble. I don't know how this is going to play out.
But I know that's a bit different in the US. The most recent news we have is that Boogie apparently lied about having a cancer, and that's Boogie, I guess. So let's move to the last entry of this layer. Nicholas Perry, aka Nicocado Avocado, began his journey on YouTube as a skinny vegan violinist, and now he's almost a mancubus because all of the machinery he needs to stay alive.
Nope, because that's for low IQ peasants. You look like someone who would play League of Legends. You look like a Genshin Impact enjoyer. Have you ever played that? No.
Nicocado's stories followed, I would say, with self-harm, abuse and a dose of drama sprinkled with extra cringe.
I'm gonna whip this hoe.
It's a guy you probably saw somewhere on the internet, even if it was just for the memes. Prior to YouTube, Nicocado worked as a freelance violinist in New York. At the age of 21, he had dreams of playing the Broadway pit orchestra. The problem was that it was a very tough and a saturated market to make any success. Sadly, his dreams remained only dreams.
I look like a blueberry. I look like a blueberry.
Nicocado created his first and main YouTube channel on May 27, 2014, and it was a step that changed his life.
There's your video.
His earliest videos involved him eating a very healthy and vegan diet until he had saw how much money is there to make with mukbang videos.
Your boss.
Mukbang YouTubers are individuals who would consume an unholy amount of food in one sitting, sometimes just commenting on the food and sometimes talking about other topics.
In common, we're very beautiful, but the difference between, well, he's basically
skinnier, more attractive, richer, more popular. I mean, where do you want to start? The only thing you have in common with him is maybe that you're human. And I highly doubt that you're human because I think you identify as a hippo.
Get away! Get away! Get away!
So Nicocado would throw out the avocados he had lying around his house and would stockpile fast food like he's going out of style. He would produce mukbang videos on a frequent basis, which in the end resulted that he would reach his final form. This has prompted concern from a part of his community as well as the YouTube community in general, with many saying that he is eating himself to death and that he needs to receive some help. Because of this, he has many health issues, which isn't any wonder. But according to Nick, it's just water weight, so don't worry.
If it wasn't water weight, could I do this?
A thing also we need to mention about Nick is that he has poor hygiene, because he doesn't like to brush his teeth or take a shower. In a deleted video, he recorded waking up and surprising Orlin to then sing potatoes, chicken and sandwich while there was a leak in his bed. He said it's a common thing that people do who eat spicy food challenges. He's also releasing videos on a daily basis, so you can only guess how many times this happened until this point.
Just stop.
Now every normal person will probably stop with the spicy foods and the mukbangs, but again the green river of money would probably dry out, and that's a big problem. But the problem was also that Nick would not only himself but also the others around him. So would you believe me that Nick 𝙀𝙭 had a few controversies over the years? And a lot of people despise him for his unnecessary disgusting videos where Nick and his ex-husband abuse each other physically and verbally. Besides all the attention he received, he still isn't satisfied and loves to start a drama here and there. For example, Nick 𝙀𝙭 faced allegations of harassment and invasion of privacy from a mukbanger, Stephanie So. Following their collaboration as Spicy Noodle Challenge, she claimed to feel unsafe during the collaboration and accused Nick 𝙀𝙭 of sending harassment texts and taking photos inside her home. These allegations led to a public dispute between them, with both parties producing videos and evidence to support their claims. This controversy sparked significant response from his viewers. Because of this, he lost 10,000 subscribers in one single day, and his video began receiving a higher ratio of dislikes to likes. Many people think he has some mental problems because of this, but I let you to be the judge because I'm definitely not qualified to judge somebody like this. Also, something that is quite completely wrong on so many levels is how Nick 𝙀𝙭 would use his status as a disabled person to his advantage. How? Well, by uploading multiple videos with offensive thumbnails and titles such as "My new diet as a disabled person" and profiting off an image of disability, which is just wrong, I think.
It's different, okay? I'm actually a person strategizing what I do.
Also, if you didn't have enough of Nick 𝙀𝙭, you can always check his OnlyFans page. And if you know about more people like this that should be on the list, tell me in the comment sections.
Well, Batman, basically you messed up. You let 5 people die.
Chris Shuey is a very odd entry to start this layer, but that's a good thing. Online he is known as 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙡𝙖 and he is a YouTube personality. The thing he is famous for is for his extreme eating and drinking stunts. He was born in Albany, New York on May 30, 1969. A odd thing is that he is actually a military veteran. It's not an odd thing that he served his country, but it's odd the path he chose, at least regarding to his health. Because trying to eat everything you find in your house isn't the smartest thing to do, but I guess glue and paper are a winning combo.
I can get this goddamn glue flowing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. How bad are you now, Fecky J? On your mark, get your face, get set, no face, doesn't shoe nights.
Besides this information, there is little or no info about his personal life. That's a good thing for us, as we can skip to 2010, when he had his breakthrough on YouTube with his unconventional and dangerous videos. His content primarily consists of eating or drinking unusual and hazardous substance, often in large quantities, which has garnered both fascination and concern from his viewers. Well, it's something you could see in Jackass. So, is he some type of a Stevie O from Temu? Well, sort of. Well, mukbangs are dangerous, but this is the level 2, I guess, where mukbangs can be dead over time due to eating high amounts of unhealthy food. This is a new level. Chris would eat almost everything his viewers suggest, from consuming entire rolls of toilet paper, eating non-foods such as eating glue sticks, candles and chopsticks. He even tried to eat a shoe. He would also try his luck with liquid things, like for example gulping large quantities of alcohol, but sometimes his videos would be quite simple and he would try to eat spicy food. I don't feel comfortable to show you everything he does, as I don't want to spread this nonsense. I'm quite aware that this makes people laugh and obviously tune in, but morally it feels very wrong. Like, if you need money and I tell you to drink a liter of vodka in one sip for 50 bucks, would you do it? And now who is here to blame? But I don't think we should blame the guy who took the 50 bucks, but rather the one who actually offered it. You are smart and you probably know what I mean by this.
Oh, the burn. It's just a little burn, not a bad burn. Not as bad as the burn. Oh, I got some orange juice and vodka just to help me out. I do a little shot before. Oh, man, that burns. Hold on.
So, it's no wonder that he was criticized by promoting dangerous behavior. Many health experts and concerned viewers have pointed out the potential risk associated with ingesting non-food items. This should be clear as day. But again, I don't think he doesn't care about his health too much. But you know how the internet works. Shock value and his eccentric personality managed to raise quite a dedicated following over the years, despite all these concerns.
Haven't eaten it in a while. Sticks to your teeth like taffy. Thank you.
But his life wasn't without personal problems. If we can ignore his eating disorder, let's call it so, he also struggled with alcoholism and homelessness. His online persona and content had often been closely connected to his struggles, adding a depth to his extreme challenges and the reasons behind them. The problem was that his willingness to engage in dangerous activities for the sake of the views has influenced a niche segment of YouTube content creators. Most of his stunts were often requested by specific people who donated money to his channel. In 2013, he set the Guinness World Record for eating the most lit birthday cake candles in 1 minute and 12 seconds. Like, why is this even a thing, and why is it endorsed and was put in the Guinness book?
Shoe Nuts trying to set a Guinness World Record for swallowing lit birthday candles. He needs to keep those candles down, and right now he's coughing something into his hand.
He also sits at almost 190,000 subscribers currently, and he's still producing videos. As I would find out, he also apparently quit drinking 2018 due to fear of not dying from alcohol poisoning. His content serves as a stark reminder of the potential dangers of seeking online fame through extreme and bizarre actions. He didn't harm anybody but himself. And what for? Well, for people's entertainment. I don't know if this is sad or not, but it's definitely disturbing if you're willing to sink so low to find attention and fame or just to earn money. I don't blame him so much, but rather the system, I guess. Hard to say, so let's move to the next entry.
Either way, guys, shoe nice again. Basically, I'm promoting a lot of things right now. I got back on Twitter X, 2,000 followers in a week. I'm selling products on TikTok. I'm just getting back in the game that I lost being a drunk troll. I've almost lost 50 pounds. That'll happen probably by Monday. I'm fasting, staying healthy. Either way, we got a sort of clean bill of health from the doctor. But what I'm doing is not deleting videos anymore, and I'm just doing family friendly.
Guess what? One day I'm gonna get by the hottest of age goth chick that's biologically female, and it's gonna be consensual and she'll be alive.
Well, is King Cobra actually a horror cow or a cobra cow is something I'll let you to decide, but the Kim himself is many things, like a streamer, guitarist, a songwriter, and a Vaughn creator.
Guitar, it's a wonder I'm not swimming in pussy right now, I'm just saying.
King Cobra is like a tornado, but more like a self-destructive tornado, as he is only destroying his life with his obscure and weird decisions.
Oh, you. That only works if you're not white.
But a man who begs for a sex doll from his euros can't be that bad.
Yeah, I'll give the trolls a fucking meme to fuck with.
Well, he also killed Pet Mantis and glue it onto one of his wands. Well, I don't think the things I just said make him look any better. But let's take a look at his early life. King Cobra's obsession with Snake started with an early age when he played an educational computer game called Buzz the Knowledge Bug.
Boy, those two pigs at the trough are really pigs.
And at that time he also started to watch Steven Irwin's special episode about spitting cobras, and he was completely obsessed with them.
Crikey, that water's warm. This is the ancient spit.
But his early life wasn't so great, from the fact that his mother refused to breastfeed him, so she was serving him baby formulas which caused him bleeding.
Jeez, oh, how lovely. How love.
I think that definitely doesn't sound good at all, and his parents would also divorce when he was still little, and that's perhaps a reason why he developed attention disorder.
Somebody died there for a while.
As a child, he would often be bullied, at one point so much that the bus driver needed to stop the bus to help Cobra out. As the years went by, Cobra wasn't your typical child, and his mother would also quickly realize that. Then she decided to throw him into a church program so he could find his path, which didn't have any success at all.
Got her positioned on my lap here so we can do this thing.
Over the time he started to evolve into the form we know him today. In the middle school he created a cult based on his two favorite colors, black and green.
Now, me and my friend, I started this little gang with my friends. We practiced magic, we hung out, we smoked,
And this was the time he actually adopted his nickname as King Cobra.
King Cobra in the video. Now I'm going to attempt to...
It first started as a fun joke of a cult which somehow ended up almost being a pseudo-religion, which was combined with extra sprinkle of god and cringe for better or worse, as he made a whole lore about it.
Whoa!
He even wanted to write a book about it, but thanks to God we didn't get this, as his book would probably put in jeopardy all the religious book we got today.
Now, just because a mongoose is able to overpower a cobra in the wild doesn't make that true in the demon world of my religion. As a matter of fact, cobra demons are more powerful than the mongoose demon, okay? Now, how do you join up? Very easy. You swear your alliance to Cobra Tinkerbush's Colberlo, you pray to them.
Also, quite funny thing that I found out that he begged his father to buy him GTA San Andreas, and when he did, his father was absolutely terrified and disgusted when he saw what Cobra would do to the hookers in the game, so he immediately threw the CD away and forbade him from playing the game, mostly because he had some concerns about what the game could do to his still developing and creative mind.
What's an anorexic's favorite food? Air. Oh my god, Sean. That's not helping. No, it's not.
His father would also quite often ban him from computer and other electrical stuff to do something more useful in his life. But this all changed when he moved out, but we will touch upon this particular part of his life, because there are still things I wanna touch upon in his early life, like a special girl named Demi. Demi was one of many girls who were into Cobra, well, so much that she would quite frequently kick him in the balls because of it. Cobra, the gentleman he is, he never seek any vendetta because of it. This nuts-making ritual would continue for months. It was so bad that his parents actually begged the girl to stop hitting Cobra's jewelry. Plot twist, Cobra actually thought that Demi was into him and that she didn't know how to express her love besides kicking his avocados. But one day Cobra would go to Demi, pick her up and throw her to the ground, and the era of the nuts making has ended.
And I'm like, well, you're not gonna twist my autistic nipples that hard. I'll see what I can do. Oh, you give me the money and I'll make it happen.
Was this violence justified after months of harassment, or should Cobra just allow the girl to ring his fraternity bells until all of the eternity? His father would also say that Cobra has very poor hygiene and refuses to brush his teeth or even shower.
Get yourself some tactical soap, and you too can smell as sexy as I do.
Where there is a problem, there is a solution, and that's Axe body spray, especially the chocolate one. He would basically overdose on this stuff, and I don't wanna get into how he smelled after 3 days of not showering and then spraying himself with Axe. But enough of his early life. Where is Cobra nowadays? Cobra started a channel named King Cobra 52, where he would share his gothic swag and was showing off his musical skills.
Feel the chill crawling at the back of your neck, it's hard to spell.
From the early stage of the channel, people would figure out that he was kind of special and they would start to pick on him. Today Cobra is known for streaming his everyday life, but also his downfall, as there is no other explanation to it. His streams would consist mostly of him consuming huge amounts of tobacco and alcohol, accompanied by the most important part, and that's oversharing the most dirty parts of his life. As he moved out from his father's apartment, things wouldn't get any better.
Oh, I'm Joseph, the French avatar. Oh, sacré bleu.
In April of 2018, the police showed up at his door due to noise complaints during a stream, because he would often get drunk, puke and start to scream while he was streaming. Things that every neighbor loves to hear in the middle of the night. But don't let Cobra's gothic persona fool you. As you can guess, there are plenty of wild eras of his life documented online. I don't wanna dive into his relationships he had over the years, as this pulls us away a bit from the core of this video, but most of his girls were matches from dating sites, including a crackhead without teeth, but I wanna dive into the time he felt a bit lonely in his life. He has a hyperdrive, you know what I mean, and his needs need to be satisfied. First, he got a flashlight to light up his mood. Somehow he wasn't very fond of and used it once, then threw it away. So we are entering the doll era, where he begged his followers to gather money so he could buy himself a play doll.
With another unboxing video. And I had a fan of mine send me something. Yeah.
But one of his fans actually gifted him a used but well-maintained doll, whatever this means. Cobra was quite happy, in fact so much happy that he broke the poor thing in half.
Of course I was happy with it, and then my tore a huge gash in the... And I was embarrassed and frustrated that I couldn't fix it, and that, well, nice go, you broke your way, of all things.
He was so embarrassed by the story that he told his friends the doll was stolen. And this is just a saying. Just imagine somebody breaking into your house and stealing your doll, which landed on Uniland with a title, "Guy's story about having his doll stolen is pure insanity." So Cobra got some public light besides his channel. Well, Cobra would continue to beg his fans for a new doll, which cost just over 2k. He managed to gather the money and get the doll. He would use the doll a few times, but the problem was he used the wrong soap to clean it up, and the doll's skin started to peel off and the doll would slowly start to fall apart. Just like his life. But his life wasn't falling apart because of the use of soap, as this is something he desperately needs, but rather from his unhygienic conditions and heavily alcohol and tobacco abuse.
Stay the fuck out of my hand, you piece of shit! I'll smoke you until you're dead! Fuck you!
But rather from his unhygienic, heavy alcohol and tobacco abuse. Some of the things that started to happen to him is his hair loss, his cognitive functions being quite slow, and he started to slur while he speaks, and sometimes he would just mumble things that nobody could understand.
I only got like one little sip left, and I'm sick of it! I hate being clumsy!
A more concerning thing is that Cobra also faced some backlash for his mistreatment of animals, with some instances caught on video, and the others he admitted to. On September 6, 2021, he found a praying mantis on his curtain, which he decided to keep as his pet and named her Mrs. Green. And like we established, green was one of his favorite colors, so there was a special bond between them. However, on September 11, 2021, he blew smoke on her and tried to feed her with her homemade drinks, which left the poor thing barely able to move. Cobra then took her aside on September 18, 2021 and confirmed that Mrs. Green has died. Cobra then thought the most logical thing to do is to cover her body in hot glue and put it on a stuff which he sold on Etsy. It's nice that Cobra immortalized his pet in such a magical way. So yeah, he was also selling wands online to make a few bucks for a living, and the wands did sell quite well despite being not so good.
They're definitely very smooth, but there's a quality check. See what I'm saying?
Also, he was evicted from his apartment as he would smoke indoors and would use blow torches for his wands, which is definitely a quite dangerous thing.
Warlord Campbell, my apprentice on wand making, and he's learning the finer arts of it, yeah.
He also once admitted that he found a baby bird in a parking lot after falling from his nest, and he ran over it with a bike to put it out his misery. But the biggest backlash he's got was about his bearded dragon lizard called Puff, or called by some Puffington.
I'm more connected with Puff emotionally than any of you miserable sad losers out there.
Puff was very neglected and poorly treated. Cobra gave Puff an excessive amount of pellets, blew smoke into his tank and even managed to lose Puff for a few days in his house.
You are so cute.
He is cute.
Oh my god.
And he would occasionally just dump his own food into his tank without cleaning up. On August 12, 2023, Puff began twitching. Some would say it's a sign of nutrition deficiency or other medical problems.
I love my puffers. I gave him some fresh water in his dish, and he was just soaking in it, chilling out. I watched him take a huge gulp of water. I just got done spraying him with some water. The water in the mist bottle is literally lukewarm. Oh, Puff, you're good. Puff, you're good. It's okay. It's okay, Puffers.
On November 16, 2023, Kobe revealed on Facebook that Puff had gone missing. According to his sister, Puff ran away after Cobra took him outside. Due to the low temperatures in his region, it can result that this can be quite harmful when not fatal to this reptilian dragon. And many of Cobra's followers presume that Puff was dead. And I don't know how Mr. Puff, a lizard in cold condition, could outrun Cobra, but well, he did. But that's the life of King Cobra, a rollercoaster ride of weird and bad decisions, but also mistreatment of animals. Is he a real horror cow is yet debatable, but again we are only at the second layer. The last update we have, I think, is that he was thrown out his place and he moved back to his father, who banned him once again from using any type of social platforms.
I woke up in the middle of the early morning to fart, and as soon as I farted, I shit myself a little bit. I'm like, oh no, bathroom. And I didn't realize it had happened until I went to go pull up my pants and go back to bed, and I'm like, oh, really? Come on. I'm like, whatever. So I passed out with my shoes on, so here I am trying not to get poop on my fucking self. And it wasn't that much. It was a little teeny tiny bit, but it was enough that you would have felt it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, son.
Anthony Legato's story is quite unusual. His story is connected with a YouTuber we will touch upon. Spoiler alert, it's Chris Chan. I felt like I didn't do him any justice in the Horrorcows Iceberg, so this chart will do him some justice, as he can be now considered as a horror cow. For the sake of this video, if you don't know who Chris Chan is, which I highly doubt, he is a very well-known and documented online personality who became famous for his webcomic 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙡 and his extensive trolling that he endured over the years. Now, Anthony is a man originally from New York who was the first person, as I could figure it out, to become something known as a ChrisTuber. What's that? Well, a ChrisTuber is a creator who solely focuses on Christian.
I am, of course, Anthony 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙡𝙢 once again, and I am going to do a commentary on another Christian video.
Does this mean I'm a IceTuber or a BergTuber? Because I love to cover icebergs? I don't know. But back to the story. ChrisTubers would often discuss various aspects of Christian's life, like his online activities, but they often are connected with extensive trolling and harassment. Their content could also range from simple documentary style overviews to commentary videos and analysis of Christian's latest action.
I don't mind gay people myself. The thought of it is just painful. It's like, oh god, my ass. One question. How do they sit down afterwards? But enough of that.
Anthony, or 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙀𝙭 was such a YouTuber. 𝙀𝙭𝙥 would be quite extreme of his criticism. He created videos and content that intensely mocked and ridiculed Chris.
Actually, your is non-existent. I had the misfortune of seeing your stupid that shower video you did. Yeesh. You, sir, are lacking up
expressing a deep-seated hatred that went beyond your typical trolling, comparing Chris to some very bad people I don't wanna mention now. He would often go to great lengths to ridicule and belittle Chris Chan. Sometimes it felt very personal. He really went all out on this while creating these videos.
Okay, you fail at life, you fail at drawing, you fail at socializing, and you fail at what is it you're doing, man?
And you know how this goes, we don't support any type of hate on this channel, so don't go out of your way and don't harass any of the people we talk about. Anthony, most famously and arguably most embarrassing moment, was where he was making a video where he watched 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥𝙀𝙭 sex tape while making cringe-worthy commentary.
Basically, in a rant that I was working on, I mentioned that I saw the Christian tape. Most people, I believe, are a little bit questioning on whether or not I've actually seen it. So, once again, I'm going to waste another 7 minutes and 40 seconds of my life just to prove it to you people. Plus, I just hope I could find something funny about it. I mean, wait, don't turn around. Yeah. Oh God, your ass, dude, your ass.
And also the time he did a very terrible stand-up routine at a local comedy club.
She knew how to go down on a beat saber. Very, very good. Oh yes. I do a lot of...
Also, something I found out, but I can't really confirm, is that he apparently once was fired from his job at a radio station for watching porn in the studio. But then something quite weird started to happen. Over time, members of the trolling community behind Christian began to notice that 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥𝙀𝙭 exhibited behaviors similar to those he mocked Chris for. This included lack of self-awareness, engaging in bizarre activities, and showing signs of delusional thinking.
You know what? You can't even spoon right. I can do this better than you. Oh, God.
And over time, he became a lolcow or horrorcow, dare I say it.
What is behind me might be something that will get your mom pissed off. Well, except for mine, who is a liberal. Yep, hentai.
He became what he ridiculed the most, a Chris. Well, a Chris clone to make it even worse. This would lead that 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥𝙀𝙭's own eccentric and disturbing behaviors came to light.
You spent 2 months offline letting me enjoy my freedom from commentating on your dumb ass. And this is what happens? Every time I try to commentate on other idiots, he always finds a way to rear his ugly, balding head back online.
And he was increasingly seen as a hypocrite, and his nickname would become a synonymous word for hatred towards Chris, which often would lead to obsessive behavior about him. 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥𝙀𝙭 still maintains somewhat of an online presence and has a Twitter account related to his voice acting work, but he rarely, if ever, mentions Chris in these posts at all. His fame peaked with his rants about Chris, but at the end of the day he faded into obscurity. And I don't know how many people will actually remember this guy, but this is the story of an individual who spent a lot of energy to spread hate, but what for? Well, at least he's immortalized on my channel and in this Iceberg chart. He's definitely a bizarre troll with quite self-destructive nature.
One fine thing about this, you ought to see a lot of cosplayers, like this gentleman here. Who are you being? Who are you cosplaying as?
𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥𝙀𝙭! 𝙀𝙭!
I actually have some pretty exciting news to announce to all of you. Maybe not all of you are going to like it necessarily, but...
Uh-oh, it's taco time. I'm a taco, look at me. Watch me dance.
Okay, and what do we know his name at all?
It's Chris Hansen.
Onision is one of those people who loves to strike down other people's content, because he simply doesn't want people to talk about him. But this won't stop me from doing just that. The only difference is for this part of the video I am forced to use some random gameplay footage and photos for the sake of not being struck by the almighty Onision. Lame I know, but that's how some people just are. Now, who is Onision and why he doesn't love it when people talk about him? Well, maybe because of the abuse threesome he had with a minor? Perhaps? I am not quite sure. Maybe this is also the reason why his comment section is turned off. But let's take a few steps back and see who Gregory Jackson or Onision really is. Greg is an American YouTuber who we can consider one of the OGs as he has his channel before 2010. He blew up at the same time as Shane Dawson did. His early life is somewhat of a mystery as he doesn't love to talk about it, but it's believed he was born or at least lived in Oregon at some point of his upbringings, due to him mentioning he was going to school there. His early life, like the 3 entries before, wasn't the best, which is somewhat of a recurring theme through these layers. Greg's parents divorced when he was only 2 years old, and his father was convicted of committing a sexual crime against a minor. This begs the question of how Greg processes this stuff in his head. At the age of 15, Greg was also physically attacked by his father as he wanted to strangle him. Greg retaliated in self-defense by repeatedly kicking him in the chest. All of that reflected that he suffered from depression and suicide thoughts in the high school. These struggles didn't stop there as they would continue in his adulthood. He recounts one story where he had a he said while he was serving in the Air Force, and he wanted to end it all. He said this was a very dark time of his life. He recovered from depression multiple times, and he started to use his experience to aid others, which isn't good at all, as you will see. Greg is also very close to his mother, who had also appeared in his videos, for example, Ghost Caught on Camera. When we take a look at Greg's career, he was known to be very controversial. His views and thoughts would not often align to other people's belief. In April of 2009, Greg uploaded a video called Murderers Eat. In the video he rants about the population of the world that eats meat, saying he doesn't give a fuck about their opinions and going so far as calling them murderers. This video was eventually deleted, potentially because of the criticism he received, which isn't so surprising after all. He made his channel back in 2006 and created multiple accounts over the years. Greg has also written 2 novels that are a mixture of real events and fictional ones, and his videos are quite all over the place, as sometimes he can be quite cheerful and happy, and in others he seems quite mentally unstable. By his own account, he has said that his change in personality depends on the video he was releasing and based on the beliefs he had about the video. What Greg quickly realized is that his main audience were American girls in the range of 13 and 16 years old. And this is the part where things get a bit dark. Greg has been often criticized by other people because he tries to manipulate his audience by releasing a video he knows they will react to, and that's why he releases videos that are a bit on the darker side, and he is often criticized for his views about abuse and depression, as he's continuously partaking in blaming victims of abuse and also asserted that depression is their fault, which is also opinion to have. Greg at one point made a video called Rise Above Hate, where he told a teenage girl with some thoughts brought on abuse at the hands of her mother to take matters into her own hand. Greg was once again criticized for this, with some commentators claiming that his statements show that he lacks the knowledge and awareness regarding depression and abuse. 2012 also marks a bitter era for Greg, as allegations arose that he had raped or otherwise forced a particular sexual act upon Adrienne while they were two dating in 2011. These allegations arose in the mid-2011. Again, those allegations are always a messy stuff to get into. This was followed by a string of highly controversial videos created by Greg as public statements about Adrienne, and infamously commenting that she had sex with more than 20 people before him, making her a slut and incapable of being raped, which just begs the question in what type of delusional world Greg is living in. This statement led to media headlines, resulting in over thousands of users criticizing Greg and over 50,000 YouTubers petitioning that his partnership with YouTube should be revoked or that he needs to get banned from YouTube. Eventually he made an apology video in 2013. In a video posted to his channel in early December of 2018, Greg talked about that he had some minor involvement with the furry community as a teenager. Although he never identified as a furry, he mentioned feeling very welcome among them. Is this something positive or negative? I want you to decide, but the furry community did have some rough time late due to some people among them. No pun intended. Furries are a topic that will get a standalone iceberg at one point on my channel, but the biggest problem with Greg was his attraction to his younger audience, as it was revealed over the years. Now let's touch upon the most disturbing part of Greg. Besides the dramas and the outbursts he had, meet Sarah, a 11-year-old girl who stumbled upon his channel through recommendations. Sarah was in a bad place at that time in her life. She said that his videos would influence many of her opinions she had at the time. Sarah was also a huge fan of 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥𝙡𝙦, which was Greg's wife at the time, and she would stay very active in the community. She started even interacting with 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥𝙦 on social media over the next years.
I actually reached out through Twitter, and I would just like I would tweet him a couple times, but I really started tweeting his spouse 𝙀𝙭 a lot, and that's kind of who first noticed me.
At that time, 𝙀𝙭 identified as a woman, but has since come out as transgender. Greg would also make Sarah her crush Wednesday when she was only 13 years old. She even joined a group chat, which was a way for Greg to get in touch with his fans. She felt very validated that she received attention from her idols, which helped her during these dark times. She would later state that Greg and 𝙀𝙭 definitely saw someone very vulnerable at the time, and they quickly realized that she has some emotional needs that aren't fulfilled at her home. And this was definitely a way to show the poor Sarah the glitz and the glamour of her life and the internet personalities they are. The problem was that these things would take a road very quickly. They would start off with sending each other photos in underwear. Sarah would say that they were like the Three Musketeers, and she would also comment how Greg thought of her to being very cute, which is quite alarming. Things would get quite heated as 𝙀𝙭 would post inappropriate pictures of Greg, and 𝙀𝙭 would also frequently discuss the side of Greg's. Yeah, Sarah was desperately in love with 𝙀𝙭, and she would do everything to be just one step closer to her, and because of that she even sent explicit images of 𝙀𝙭. Greg and 𝙀𝙭 planned to meet up with Sarah, but they wanted to wait, as they would figure out the age of consent in Washington is 16.
And I went and visited them. The trip was planned since I was 15, but I went and visited them September of 2016.
And did they hold off? Did they hold off until you were 16 for a reason? Was this deliberate?
Yeah.
And why was that? So they wouldn't be breaking the law?
Yeah, that basically it was agreed upon by them, and then they told me that they weren't gonna like have me visit or anything.
This spiraled even more down as Sarah was invited to live with them, and they even gained the full custody over her because things weren't so good at home, but her mother didn't know about any of the stuff that happened. The worst part is that after she was adopted, they would frequently check every penny she spent. She would often be pressured to clean the house, and she would take care of their children at the age of 16. Then it was revealed that Sarah, if she wanted to stay in a relationship with them, needed to be included in a threesome relationship with Greg. He would also take the role of the puppet master and tell them what to do.
So they both essentially lured you into a relationship. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah, Greg was like the, how do I put it? He, for the whole relationship part, at least the second time around when I was about to be 18.
Right.
He was like the puppet master. He was being like, "Oh, you guys should do this. Oh, you guys should kiss. You guys should."
So he was. Let's go
and
back
suddenly,
to the
somehow, Greg would break up with Sarah because she would act up while watching an Aladdin movie, which is just like, what the fuck. But okay. But now let's go to 2019, where Chris Hansen, a very well-known TV personality famous for To Catch a Predator, launched a YouTube channel and began an extensive investigation into Greg, documenting all of the allegations and abuse towards his ex-girlfriends and the grooming of underage girls. Over the several months, Greg would threaten Chris, calling him a stalker and a hater for covering his most controversial activities. After interviewing several of Greg's alleged victims, Chris would do then what he does the best, and that's to directly walk up to Greg's home. This happened on January 18, 2020. So Chris can prove his side of the story. When Chris knocked on Greg's door, Greg would call the police, accusing Chris of online harassment and starting a campaign against him and his family. However, when the police arrived, they found Greg's claims insufficient for harassment, and Chris was not charged.
Camera people, like they're YouTube stalkers.
As you watch this, it's important to remember that all the camera crews, sound guys, and attorney Mike Morris stayed on the street when I went up to knock on James Jackson, Gregory Jackson Onision's door to see if he would talk to me. I've been doing this for some 40 years. I didn't get into YouTube to start journalism, but I did take my brand of journalism to YouTube to expose alleged predators.
Okay, but no weapons seen?
I didn't see any weapons. I just saw like 6 guys in my driveway, and one of them is knocking on my door.
Okay, 1 second here. And the one that's knocking on your door, is he the main one that you said has been stalking you?
Yes, he's a stalker. He's yelling things at me through the door right now.
It's ironic that Onision says I've been stalking him, when in fact he's the one accused of stalking his young female victims on YouTube and on various social media platforms. He also went so far as to take my video from interviews and splice them together with video of him, making it falsely look like I asked him some questions. Absurd.
Okay, and what do we know his name at all?
It's Chris Hansen.
Okay, H.A.
Chris would continue to produce content about Greg, and he even contacted the FBI because of this.
James's demeanor on this 911 call is dramatically different from what we've seen recently on his YouTube videos, where he's variously claimed that he's having some sort of a breakdown, upset that people are approaching him on the street, saying that his condition is somehow a result of a dog having sex with him when he was younger.
Yeah.
Also, a very horrible thing that happened only 2 days after Chris's visit was that Greg's young daughter fell off a second-story window at 20-foot fall. This resulted the poor baby got her skull fractured. This sparked further outrage, and his husband Kay were neglecting parents and were not caring about the well-being of the child. There is a whole documentary about his life released, which dives quite in depth into all of this stuff if you're interested.
Shut up!
I was 17 by the time he said that he loved me. He was 25, and his main concern was we weren't going to be able to have the state I was in.
On February 9, 2023, it was reported that a lawsuit was being filed against Gregory and Kai. Why? Well, because they used his YouTube channel and popularity to groom minors and force them to have sex with them. Sarah would also sue them in 2023, but also YouTube and Google for giving them a platform with full monetizations despite everything that happened. His Patreon would also be deleted over time because he shared some private numbers, but his YouTube is still up. He's still producing videos. At this time of writing, he even made few new videos.
How many victims are out there, do you think? I brought this up before, but I mean, are we talking about a dozen? More than a dozen? I mean, we're talking to at least 3 right now.
Victims? Oh yeah, there has to be at least 10.
His life is quite a disturbing train wreck, which is still not at the end as there are still a lawsuit going on. I don't know what to say else. It's a long and deep rabbit hole, and I also wasted more time on this entry than the other 3 combined, but this is a perfect example of a horror cow, a story of someone who spread misinformation, hate, abuse and manipulate others into horrible stuff. And I just wanted to show you how serious of situation this is, and I hope you can understand this.
One for the whole family.
Let me take you back in time to the early 2000s, which was quite a weird time to be alive with its mech bling, Y2K or surf crash aesthetics. Windows XP was still a thing and you probably couldn't stop playing your PlayStation 2, or heck even Xbox if you're one of those people. It felt like a time that had an optimistic, nature-focused view on the future, but with each year passing it was clear that we are heading to our doom. Or is this me just being pessimistic? A more disturbing thing that would plague the internet world, besides all that pesky and addictive flash games and music songs that ended with .exe, was something much more raw and disturbing. A particular site called Live Leak. It was sort of a cultural phenomenon, and I know many people who talk about this site like it was the most sinister thing you could find on the clear web. I was definitely too young when I visited this site, but thanks to God I never dived in too much, and I didn't have that morbid curiosity to visit such sites, as I thought an addict at the time. I was, and still am, actually a coma addict because of my Oblivion addiction. Some other sites were created long before Live Leak in 2006, like for example Rotten.com, which was created in 1999 for example. If you did know about those sites, well, they would host some of the most disturbing stuff you could find legally, let's say. These sites would host raw footage ranging from war videos, incidents to many other things that can be quite upsetting. It provided a raw and uncensored way into the darker things in life. Live Leak was controversial, but it played a key role in the world of online video sharing. Now why I am telling you all of this? Well, if you didn't know about Plagued Moth, this was something that needs to be established as we move on. Plagued Moth, or the Gore God, is an individual worthy to be featured here. Some say he is a simple cloud chaser, and I also don't know how else to put it. He managed to gather an audience, and at the end he lost it all. Now he is homeless because of his actions, and it's an insane story that is still going on and a quite rabbit hole to dive in. Plagued Moth is a very controversial YouTuber who reached great heights on YouTube, reaching almost 500,000 subs on YouTube. He managed to get in touch with some of the bigger creators in the weirder spaces of YouTube after harassing the shit out of them to get their attention. Two of them being Mudahar and later Windigoon, and they would even make a collab video.
Plagued Moth, did you make the fake MD Pope 5?
No.
Okay.
But what's his beef? Well, as you can guess, he would review gore videos that were connected to Live Leak and other sites like this. The people who had morbid curiosity would feel very at home at his channel. I actually stumbled upon this guy a few years ago because, don't ask because I don't tell. He would do often commentary style videos about the videos he would present to his audience. He's also known for his uncensored way of talking.
I actually have a few that I'm sitting on that are from Tor, and these were given to me by someone who wished to remain anonymous. The two I received were called Amber Alert and Suffer Little Children. And you know, with titles like that, they're obviously going to be just wholesome, family-friendly content. Fun for the whole family!
As time went on, he would get weirder, at least more weirder than you think, because talking about people being crushed and ripped in half is quite weird on itself, and to do commentary on things like this is completely beyond common sense, or I am overreacting here. But he started to upload in 2018, and just like me, he didn't get almost any views. But this all changed when he talked about a Russian streamer who killed his pregnant girlfriend for $1,000. I bet you didn't see that coming. He saw a huge jump in his views. Because of this, he would also make another video, and he was about to embark on a quite gore path on his channel. Because of this video, his channel would gain quite an exposure, like the video where he commented the Funky Town incident with his flavor of commentary.
Well, the next scene I can just best describe as not fun, because they gouge his eyes out and fillet his face off. Yeah. Hungry?
What the most important thing is that he found a niche and people seem to love his uncensored way, and it was a win for the people who searched for such type of content. As time passed, Mod would exhibit quite weird behavior while watching those gore type of videos, such as watching the One Girl 99 Stumps. He would cover this incident in a very disturbing way, and many people thought of it to be very disrespectful.
Oh, this is way higher quality, dude. Damn, goddamn. She's dead, bro. What are you doing? Holy shit. What, are you done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. What did I say, like 22? It was a little over 20 stops.
This weird behavior would continue as he would create, let's say, questionable merchandise that rubbed the people the wrong way, which was also followed by a TikTok video about the funky towel incident with a box cutter, which didn't help the situation at all. But this was part of his edgelord swag. The problem was that people started to look at his commentary videos as very disrespectful, as it involved people actually talking. Because of all the backlash, he would also post some videos where he would talk about his personal life, like about how his daughter has diabetes. This isn't something wrong to talk about, but over time it felt more he tried to get sympathy from his viewers just so they can jump on his Patreon. At the time he also talked about how he watched the after school special video, which was later to be revealed as a hoax made by 4chan users just to catch clout chasers like Black Mod.
Subconsciously and embarrassingly, my mind played telephone with itself, and I took a similar memory and ran it with thinking it was, well, this.
Where things would get darker is where he talked about a certain video called Amber's video, which was about crushing infants, which sounds highly disturbing.
I mentioned something, didn't I? I mentioned that there's infant crush videos out there, I bet. There's things like that, toddlers, right? Well, that's what's in there.
This sparked so much backlash in the gore community, and why? Well, if I'm correct, it's apparently fine when adults get killed, but not kids. I don't know, however, a life is a life and they should be equally valid, but that's the rules of the gore community, I guess. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But Mod would then make a follow-up video where he explained why this isn't illegal and would further debate the morality of gore content.
It's legal because it's just child abuse and murder. Sounds disgusting to say. I agree it should be illegal, but it's not. And part of the reason I make these videos is to kind of shine a light on them.
And he would also say that all of these videos are uncensored, featured on his Patreon, where he would make most of his money as YouTube didn't monetize his channel because of the gore videos.
And no, I will not show anything like that uncensored. My Patreon and stuff, we cover uncensored content.
Also, he was then banned from Patreon for showing those videos, so he moved to Discord.
That is if you're tier 2, you're gonna get that on your uncensored Moth secret stash list. Things we can't host here on Patreon.
Then he went on a rampage because he thought he was targeted by someone. And because his Patreon was targeted, it felt like a direct attack to his family and his daughter. But what I found quite interesting, that he later stated that he wasn't selling any gore material behind his paywall, which was quite untrue.
I don't have uncensored gore anywhere.
He would also say that the people behind Patreon are protecting PDFs, and he would also mention one more time his daughter.
The reality is that the representative is negligent, period, and refused to investigate, so instead covered their tracks by making an excuse that really doesn't make sense. For me and my family, personally, this is a horrible timing. I just put down over $5,000 for my daughter's insulin pump. She is a type 1 diabetic, she's insulin dependent.
Even if this is quite serious matter, I think this could be handled quite differently, but you will see how the story unfolds. Meet Creepy Reading, a rival of Mod who allegedly reported his Patreon page. A huge drama I don't want to get into, as I'm trying to keep this somewhat compact. And there is so much to talk about here. They were even featured on a Turkey Tom video where they both debated all of the things that happened. At one point, even Creepy Reading paid for Mod's Patreon just to see his gore videos. He would then also claim that Mod saw a very famous video, which I definitely don't want to describe, called Daisy's Destruction. Mod claimed that he never saw this video because it would land him behind bars, just to be later revealed he saw some snippets on 4chan apparently. He would then also get into a beef with a creator called Slimeball, and they had a similar beef like Creepy Readings, where Slimeball claimed he possessed a copy of Daisy's Destruction. Again, too much drama to cover here. After all of this, he even made a GoFundMe page to make some money. Some stuff were for his sick daughter, which is quite understandable, but he would also beg for groceries, and he also needed a light bulb for his bearded dragon lizard. Is this puff? I love how Plagued Mod went from bragging online about how much money is he making to basically not be able to afford a light bulb. I don't wish misfortune on anyone, but it feels like karma struck him. Also, Creepy Readings commented that this serves him right as he was profiting from the dead. Now we're getting into one of the biggest problems with Plague Mod, and that is his Discord channel, as one of the moderators at the time was a minor. Now, due to the content on his Discord, you'll see how this is a huge problem. And I love how over the years, Plague Mod would cause so much drama calling people PDFs, cockheads, trolls, liars, without any proof. This would continue in such a way that he would abuse the YouTube copyright system just to censor information about him. Do you smell that? Yes, it smells like another copyright abuser. Lyrics, a guy who we already mentioned in the Mama Mix series, he would jump one more time live to talk about Plague Mod, about the copyright claim he made against various people who attacked him online. He even copyrighted the video in which he agreed to be on with Turkey Tom.
Not understanding the copyright system. You also said a quote to him that falls on my lack of education of how copyright system works. But that's not true. You did know, and this was your explanation you gave to YouTube.
What I'm saying is, or what I was saying rather, to Tom too, is like, again, because like right now I'm being told that I apparently don't know how it works. It's basically just agreeing with it, to move on with it. I did believe I was doing the right thing, but sure. I mean, I do own that content. I did not give consent for that content to be used. So,
you don't have to give consent for content. It's fair use.
What I'm saying is, I did not approve of him using my content in his videos.
Yeah, you don't have to. You react to videos for a living. You should know this better than.
I didn't do it correctly, and it wasn't used correctly, apparently.
Yeah, but that's not a point in your favor. But
I know that. That's me saying I f***ed up there.
Yeah, but you're lying when you explain to other people. That's the point I'm making.
In this video, he shows that his knowledge of the copyright system is quite vague.
So that's 39 seconds. Did you see any of your privacy breached?
Other than my image, I believe that was my wife helping me as well with the quote.
What is your image?
What
is your image? What is your image? Your face?
Yep.
You show your face on your public YouTube channel. All the privacy complaints are my fault. So she's saying that she filed all the privacy complaints, but you just told me a different story. You just told me that
you couldn't have filed all of them.
This spiraled down so hard that he even brought his wife, and she admitted that she was behind all the strikes.
For full transparency, because I don't really like the whole lying thing, I was the one who decided to see if the privacy complaints would work, to be honest. And I filed a bunch under mine, and I did file some under his, and he asked him to lie for me.
Should I be expecting a privacy complaint because I'm showing this video right now?
I just don't like the people, and I just was hoping that something would, I don't know, give leeway.
Give leeway? You just don't like the people.
As she didn't like how people would talk about him. And it's completely nuts to think that I'm quite afraid that this video could be taken down because she didn't like this video.
I did send out multiple ones.
But your wife just said that you didn't, and she said she was the one who did it all. So who's telling the truth, you or your wife?
We both send out complaints, I don't understand.
Dude, were you not in the room when your wife just said it? I don't think I'm mishearing.
Actually, I wasn't until I actually went back when I got sent that video. And then I started to be like, oh, well, kind of explains the ducking and why supposedly a clear depiction of a...
You can keep trying to character assassinate, you're just making yourself look worse. But in case you weren't listening, which it sounds like you weren't, your wife said that you were lying in her favor and that she was the one who sent out all the privacy complaints. But it sounds like you're now admitting that it's a different story. Now she was lying too to me.
Because I wouldn't go after Turkey Tom because he's got a bigger or possibly even more, what is it?
So that's how you operate?
He would even later claim that lyrics is a PDF because why not? And to wrap this all up, as this is still Iceberg chart, Plague Mod, Gore God or whatever he is called is quite an interesting fellow with an offset moral compass. I am quite aware that there are people who cover morbid stuff and I am also one of them sometimes. But again, there are times where you need to know how to behave and comment on certain things, and his comments would get more unhinged over the time. Could this be because he became numb from watching all of this stuff? Yeah, but the comments are still too much nevertheless. But for a fact, we know that minors were in his Discord channel. In regards for the fights he caused along his way, it's just too much drama to cover in this video, but his personality for accusing everyone and everything from being a PDF to a troll to a hater is basically Lolcow 101. And also we have that one more thing in the background where he sold gore videos on his Patreon and Discord channel. And also to simply blame everyone for taking fruit from his table and putting his sick daughter in danger as he doesn't have the money to finance her medical stuff. It's first of all very convenient to blame everybody else, but again YouTube is a very high risk job due to its way how trends works and everything else. And it's a thing you should definitely not rely on, and especially if you have a sick daughter. So yeah, Plague Mod went from an edgelord to something that could be considered as a whiny little, let's say, crybaby. I don't know what to say else, and I think he is quite stressed out because of all the things that happened the last year, as he is currently homeless, and I'm quite curious to see if he still will return to YouTube.
Oh my god, bro. Alright guys, I'm sorry.
Online gambling isn't something that anybody should partake in. Everybody has their own opinion, and that's mine, as there are much better ways to reach financial boredom and lose your sanity.
Don't let the night be over, don't let the night be over, don't let the night be over. No, I lost it all.
Bossman Jack or Austin Peterson has something that many people on this list didn't have.
I'm a motorboat your tits, lady.
And that's a quite normal and loving family. This just shows how the Lolcow gene doesn't have a particular type. If you're destined to become one, you will eventually. As a kid, Austin would love to go fishing, skateboarding and smoking weed. And he was quite rebellious. How? Well, he would go on a rampage with his friends, steal cars and would steal various things they would find in them. He was arrested and convicted because of this and spent 29 days in prison.
Oh my gosh!
Austin would then move to his first online addiction, because at the time he started to play RuneScape. RuneScape is a fantasy MMORPG game released in 2001 and it was originally a browser game. This game was one of those games which required a monthly fee to be paid to be able to continue playing. And many stuff on the server was bought in with an in-game currency which could also be bought with real money, so you know where I'm heading. He started his adventure in 2019 and was seen as a player who just loves to gamble in-game. The only problem was that he lost so many times that he started to beg his audience for money to keep playing the game.
Oh, I have an issue. I'm getting help. I'm gonna get help, guys. This ain't gonna keep going on. I'm gonna go get help. Because if I have $600 and I can't even pull out, bro, there's something wrong with me, man.
And he managed to gather some money, but over time he would lose over $6,800 for playing this game, which deserves at least an achievement.
Oh my gosh, bro! Oh my gosh, dude! Oh my god!
Austin would then blame the developers for his loss, but he promised he will pay all of his debts when he eventually wins some cash. As you will quickly figure out, this wouldn't happen. The problem was, much like the exception, he developed one from playing RuneScape where he actually played the game for 3 days straight without sleeping. Sadly, even if he was quite aware of his gaming addiction, he would not stop to play the game. And he was actually quite obsessed with it, like a switch flipped in his head, he was completely in trance.
Oh my gosh, dude, I feel so sick, man. Oh my gosh, bro. Oh my gosh.
People would start to watch him just to troll him and to watch his crazy rants to make compilation videos. This would spiral down even harder when he started to play real casino games online. First on Twitch, but it was eventually banned and he moved to Kick, as Kick was a bit more friendly to host such games.
Banned on here. What's one thing I can do so I can get permanently banned on Kick? Just tell me, so I can do it now. I don't want to do this anymore, dude. None of y'all even fuck me, dude. This is so sad. This is so sad, dude.
Austin would finally acquire the name Bossman Jack and started to gamble like a real boss and not some pesky little RuneScape player. As you can figure out, this guy is still living with his parents and the only thing he does is gambling.
No! You can ask my chat. Dad, stop! Man, shut the yo, shut up, man! This is bullshit.
But there is also a quite interesting pattern you can see in his streams. A pattern where he would beg his audience for money, then he would gamble the money away and then he would rage about it. And this was like a cycle going on. He would even destroy everything in his room as a result of the rage.
I'll clean it all up. Dad! I'll clean it up! I'll clean it up! Can you stop? Dude, my dad's telling me to stop, bro.
But the thrill of winning was so big that he simply could not quit. He has some clarity in his mind that the gambling is bad and destroying his life, but again, he doesn't do anything about it.
I wanna fucking stop. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
The rage moments were so intense that with every stream there were more people tuning in just to see him lose and donate money to see him rage. He would often stream for 10 hours straight. Sometimes he would pause the stream just to go berserk and then he would continue after he calmed down. But the question we need to ask here is, who is more addicted, Austin or his viewers? Some would say that Austin is a simple gambling addict, but his viewers, well, they were addicted to his chaos and love seeing his financial ruin unfolding in front of their eyes.
Oh yeah! Woo! Yeah, buddy! Yeah, buddy! It's fucking gone, dude. It's fucking gone, dude. It's fucking gone. It's fucking gone.
The problem was that his outbursts would not only result in him destroying things around, but also he would frequently abuse his parents. Like I said, he was still living with his parents and he was milking them for food, money, but also rent, and it felt like he was quite proud of it. This douchebag behavior is just disrespectful to his parents. I mean, they are bringing him dinner into his room and they just beg him not to curse about having any sex with other people he engages online. They are asking for the bare minimum here. He even called his father a sucker, and there are many dads out there who wouldn't take lightly that their 30-year-old son calls them such a name.
Oh my god, dude! Oh my god! I just want another $1,000! I swear to god! I don't want to hear it! Shut the up! Shut the up! You shut the up! You're a plus you!
Also, Austin would punch holes into his wall and destroy his door multiple times, which resulted that his room would actually look like a shelter for crackheads. Talking about crackheads, yes, he was addicted to quite few things besides gaming and RuneScape. His viewers started to see evidence that he was on crack, weed, meth, and sometimes even cocaine, I think, due to analyzing his behavior. Also, if you didn't know, he was sponsored by the casino where he played, with a salary of first $8,000 and then even later $10,000 a week. So yeah, he was earning a whopping $500,000 before taxes just to stay in his room and gamble. but the casino knew he would gamble all of their money again back to their casino. So it was quite of an investment, where they would hand money out just to get it back later.
Here we go, guys. I'm done. I'm telling my sponsor I'm done. I'm completely done with all this. I am completely done with all this, guys. You guys don't believe me, man. I'm done. I don't even get support anymore, bro. I'm done, dude.
Apparently he lost over $10 million over the years. It's a completely insane story of a loser who sits at home, does crap. He's gambling his life away and leeching off the generosity of his parents. He isn't a slow burn local like many others, because his lifestyle is freaking extreme, fueled by so much rage and degeneracy. It's quite outstanding actually. How long he will keep this up and how long before his parents kick him out? He's still currently in debt and I believe he will stay this way, but maybe, just maybe, he will win one day and turn his life around.
Dude, somebody please help me, bro. Dude, somebody please help me, bro. I know one of y'all can help me, bro. I know somebody out there can help me, man. I am in a lot of fucking trouble right now, dude. I'm in trouble, dude. I'm in trouble, man. Oh my gosh, I'm in trouble, man. Oh, I'm in trouble, man.
In the name of Jesus. Thank you, Heavenly Father.
Somebody asked for more female Horrorcows and we got a spicy one here. Be prepared as we are going to dive into some religious stuff. Yes, a Jew who identifies as Hitila isn't something you see every day in your feed.
You guys just can't see it because you are not multidimensional like me.
Tila Tequila is an Asian American influencer, well, first of its kind actually, at least in modern history. She was also an American model, singer and television media personality. And you know how this goes, once you're famous, you're all in one. From a young age, Tila loved the entertainment industry. Also her nickname, Tila Tequila, was completely sarcastic as she has an alcohol allergy.
Like where I come from, like Mars.
When she dropped out from college, she would quickly form a band as music was her passion. But the breakthrough that launched her into the world of glitz and glamour was when she was actually spotted by a Playboy agent and signed a deal. Her face was placed all over various magazines at the time, including car magazines, which heavily reminded me of Underground 2. Riders on the Storm. Yeah, holy heck, sorry. But she was completely a pioneer, and to put it simply, people just love how she openly talked about some intimate stuff. Because of that, she even launched a subscriber-based site where she charged $12.95 per month for her personal content. And this was in 2001. She quickly realized that the internet can make her quite famous.
I'm not shape-shifting today, but I am the creator behind Jesus.
And this was 20 years before OnlyFans. Tila would then quickly jump on the MySpace wagon, which is just a relic in time now, but it was a way to promote her music and her photos, and just to write with her fans. Was this to gain attention and lure people in to her private site? I don't know, but it seems so. She even managed to get the highest ranking song on MySpace with 31 million streams. The second was Fall Out Boy with 9. If you didn't know, you could put a song on your page which would be played every time somebody visits your site. And she quickly realized that if she puts her song on the channel, it would count as a stream. She was so full of herself that she wanted to be #1 on iTunes, but it was a reality hit in the face as she only managed to sell 13,000 copies, which is still not bad, but definitely a far cry from what she expected.
I'm not here to entertain you, I'm here to entertain me.
But her personal life wasn't the best. On September 6, 2009, Tequila was allegedly strangled and restrained by her boyfriend, Shaw Merriman, who was later arrested as he tackled her down NFL style and choked her. But somehow Tila managed to keep it all under control despite this guy being 6'4" and 260 pounds, which just shows you that she was completely possessed by the devil. Oops, Spoiler alert. Also, Shane claimed that she was drinking too much that night and just wanted to stop her. Yeah, I said that Tila had a drinking problem because of the allergy, but some think it was a lie and some think she is just drinking despite the allergy. The biggest problem was that she actually suffered from a personality disorder, and many weird and ominous messages were left throughout her MySpace account.
Run over very quickly to you guys about, how I've been really exposing lately how I'm actually Taylor Swift, where I created her and wrote all of her songs.
But her page was so full of messages that it's quite a hassle to find the info, and probably many people didn't bother. And Tila's life would slowly spiral down as time went on. She started to drink, then would announce a fake pregnancy, then she would spread fake rumors and gossip about other people just to get attention. She even had a TV show which was a complete failure. It was later turned out to be fake. She even converted to be a Jew because it was cool, I guess. Tila knew if she wasn't making drama, she will be forgotten, as her acting and singing career wasn't simply enough. She even threatened to kill her, and then she would again start with a fake pregnancy, and it was a circle that would repeat. But in March of 2012, Tila really attempted to commit suicide and overdose, but didn't succeed and landed in a hospital. Because of ambient, at least many people thought it was ambient, she suffered permanent brain damage. Despite all of this, she managed to recover, but nobody really knew how bad would she get after this. Tila would launch a YouTube channel where she would talk about some more extreme stuff besides the Illuminati, mainly right-wing politics.
I am online, live, because, I am not a slave to the Matrix, so I thought, well, let's make another video for my niggas. So if there's any niggas out there, hit me up because
I'm bored. And she had quite an agenda. She even wanted to start the human depopulation process, saying that the world is full of corruption, greed, and that we simply need to start the cleansing.
Earth 2 to be polluted with all the Earth 1 degenerates.
She even sympathized with a German guy and made a Photoshop photo in front of a camp with a red banner around her arm and called herself Hitila. As you expect, she would get quite a backlash because of this, because she was a Jew at one point, so I don't know how this gets together, but that's still, I guess. Also, when she finally gave birth to her child, she made a fake mustache for the baby so it looked like you know who. She would constantly talk about this ideology and the German guy, as he wasn't that bad. She would even visit one white group gathering doing the sunbroker salute. I hope this explanation doesn't get me demonetized, but you know what I mean. Tila would spread conspiracy theories, lies, trying to convince people into hateful ideologies. And when she received backlash, she would simply say she was possessed by the devil. Just few moments later, she was speaking of God and how she loves Jesus and wants to spread the word of Jesus.
But right now, so I'm about to go pick up my paycheck in IRL. No, I'm not the one. That was not me. That was some other girl on MTV. I am the bride of Christ. I am the wife of the Lamb. I am Jesus Christ's wife, bro.
This girl definitely has a problem, and she definitely doesn't deserve a platform anywhere, as there are too many people who spread such nonsense and we don't need one more. But she is still trying to make various accounts over the years which would be quickly deleted because she would identify it as Hitila, Jew, Jesus, microwave are just too much for many people. But that's the story of Tila.
God, look, she wearing my pink shirt and everything, look.
Thinking that he's actually gonna go and we're gonna go to the convention together. That's all thrown out the window because of what he's telling me. I'm planning to put him in jail. I'm trying to get as much possible information from him. Okay. I don't understand what's hard to believe about that. I don't understand.
This entry involves many things that can upset people, including animal lovers, so a big warning here. Christian stories still to be covered on this chart, and I gave you a brief explanation on the previous layer about who Chris is. I have introduced you also to the term and person called A-log, which is also a word for a person who has really deep hatred towards Chris.
Hi Chris, it's Bella. Happy 21st. Hope you enjoy yourself. Bye.
Now meet Isabella Jenke, a 22-year-old girl who has too much time and money on her hands. Isabella is somewhat of a real-life joker, a person who just wants to watch the world burn. There isn't anything holy to her. Isabella Jenke is also known as Kelly Osbourne and a dozen of other nicknames, one of them being famously the Lonely Fortune Dweller. Besides her nicknames, she is also known for her fungus feet, as she isn't the most hygienic person out there, refusing cleaning products, and the most easy way to describe her is that King Cobra meets Cyrex, as I simply don't know many people who enjoy to bathe in a puddle of piss. But this is just the start of the story. To touch upon her early life, her mother was a Harvard graduate and an Air Force pilot, while her ex-father was an ex-Navy SEAL who owned a cybersecurity company. Her parents would divorce, but her father would remarry to a former Secret Service member, which is quite a family tree to have, and I think it's quite obvious that her family is quite wealthy, with her mother even sending her a few hundreds of dollars every day, which is definitely not a good thing to learn your kid that money is just rolling in every day, like magic. It's quite obvious that this girl never needs to work one day in her life, and she also has all the time on her hands to make Chris' life living hell, but not only her life but also to many others. Her story is connected with the most infamous incident that happened in the whole Chris Chen saga, and this was the leaked phone call where Chris admits to have a sexual relationship with his 78-year-old mother, which is a felony in his home state of Virginia. Quite an insane and unhinged thing to do, but Chris is definitely mentally ill and an unstable person, and I don't know what to say more, but Bella would completely take advantage of this. Drum rolls please, as Isabella was in love with Chris Chen and wanted to have sex with him on a Brony convention. Yes, this is one of those love stories. The point the phone call was leaked, it was so mysterious because nobody knew who Bella was and that she was behind this, as she covered her tracks very well and made various accounts and even managed to convince other YouTubers to post about her, so they claimed that she didn't leak those phone calls. She was quite desperate to control the damage, as it was clear as day that this was posted without permission from Chris. But how did Bella even manage to get Chris's trust? Well, it all started that she was doing her animations and managed to get from a business relationship to a more personal one, where she even admitted she stole money from her and she wanted to become the ultimate and last troll of Chris, as she wanted to convince Chris to commit suicide. And the way she would do this is to acquire very personal info, like this very personal phone call, and try to blackmail her into doing this. But this was allegedly leaked to a third party called Fiona, which was an autistic person just like Chris, but she was only framed by Isabella and she wasn't actually the one who leaked this phone call. The internet was set on fire and Bella was kinged as the greatest troll in the Chris saga, but this fame came with a heavy price to pay, and that was her identity, as many people would like to find out more about Bella. This would lead us back to her campus in Texas, where stories started to pop up about how of a degenerate person Bella actually is. She isn't just some internet troll, but rather a very, very evil person, to say at least. On August 7, 2021, Roman, a student from the campus, revealed on his Twitter that she was under examination for allegations of gender-based discrimination and harassment, as she apparently even tried to rape somebody. She also promoted a Discord channel, a chess club so to say, which was allegedly the official group of the campus, and she promoted it all over the place. But it was only later revealed to be a way to harass and dox people, mostly harassing the people who are in the LGBTQ community. This is where things get quite disturbing. It was revealed over time that she killed 8 hamsters, including boiling one to death, just killing them, and she also wanted to rape one of them. Roman even commented how her room even reeked of piss. And there is an explanation because of that, as she had a cat in there whom she overfed to smell her gases. And I wish I'm making this up, but this brings us to something we mentioned in the beginning, and that's her fetish. It's not only that she has poor hygiene, but she was into feces. Bella would completely refuse to use any type of cleaning products, which even resulted that her fingernails are getting fungus and she would peel them off just to glue them back where they were. And I really hope you are not one of those who eat and watch my videos, as I do apologize. She was caught installing hidden cameras so she can spy on her roommate, as she wanted to get blackmail material. And there was apparently one roommate that she lived with, and she got quite into her, so much that she licked her razor blades just to taste her pubic hair. I mean, like, what the actual fuck? She was recently kicked out from the campus. Is this all real? I mean, it's totally absurd. Most of this stuff is archived online by the guy we already mentioned, Roman, but there are many more infos floating around if you want to dive deeper into this rabbit hole. Also, I want to mention the time when she wanted to put estrogen in a guy's drink to mess up his hormones, which is a quite dangerous thing to do, and I think nobody should mess with your hormones, but I guess Bella doesn't have any limits. Bella is definitely an unhinged person with ill intentions and takes great pleasures in harassing people, but also animals. Even if the Discord messages weren't true, that the fact that she wanted to convince Chris to end her life is beyond morbid, despite what Chris has done. Because of all this, she got widespread attention, and I don't feel she will ever have a normal life because of this, if she had one to begin with.
Poop, and you guys love piss, and you guys love arguments, you guys love drama. Well, I got that for you. If you want that, I'll do that for you.
Who is Andrew Ditch? Well, Andy is a perfect example of someone who we can consider a proper horror cow. Andy hates his life. The good thing is that not only does he hate his life, but he is also being hated by everyone around him, including his family members. Andy would frequently torment everyone's life around him. But besides that, Andy is an American YouTuber, vlogger and a former meteorologist. He gained authority for falsely claiming to have autism, despite numerous medical records proving him wrong. This is just a tip of the iceberg when it comes to Andrew.
And I think I'm pooping myself, damn it. I'm pooping myself. I'm pooping myself. I didn't even know I was recording this.
Besides being very rude, weird and even aggressive to the point he tried to poison his family, he is also known as a coprophiliac. And what's that, you ask? You see, Google told me that this is a person who gets sexually aroused and gets pleasures from feces. At least he is so described, but more on that later. But let's dive into the early life of Andy. Andrew Ditch graduated from Stanley G. Falk School, a special needs school in Buffalo, New York. A major event that happened to Andy when he was going to his important job as a chief executive of McFlipping, working for Ronald McDonald, is that he was hit by a car. But thanks to God he wasn't hit by an Opel like Harry Potter, so he didn't receive any scars. At least nothing major. But his life would change forever, as he did apparently receive a quite head trauma. One very strange thing that happened over the next months was that he started to get addiction to diapers. Andy was weird before, but he was a functional guy. At least that's the statement from his family. His mother started to claim that Andy would start to imagine that he suffers from various diseases. Andy would go online and look up stereotypical autistic traits and start to pretend that he has autism. However, it's more likely that Andy suffers from Munchausen syndrome, a mental disorder that causes someone to act out symptoms of an illness. To this day, Andy's father speculates on whether or not Andrew suffered from brain damage due to the car accident. Andy's behavior was extreme, as he would dismiss and scream at everyone who would try to prove him wrong.
Spike on Hines over by the apartment and Fletcher.
and we got a phone call. We're sitting down to eat dinner. Come and see your son if you want, because otherwise he's going to be dead. He's laying in the middle of the street. So we raced out, got in the car, went over there, and he's laying in the middle of the street. He got hit by a vehicle, hit and run, and he's laying there, you know, his whole face is all mashed up and everything. And then we had to call the police and the ambulance, get him to the hospital, whole 9 yards. And they said, well, other than the bleeding and probably a concussion, he should be okay. And ever since, we've always questioned whether or not he had brain damage. Get this, Andy used to drive. And he used to have his own computer business in our house. And he was high rated with the Better Business Bureau. And he was an amateur weather meteorologist. And he locates storms at the airport and all these other things. And all that stuff and all the stuff he was interested in, and he loved the sabers. Lost interest. Can't do it. Can't function. No more.
Andy was not diagnosed with any type of brain damage, but the doctor also said it could take years for something like this to develop because of this hit. If you take a look at his old videos,
sometimes he'll be marked just with an internet symbol, such as what this router has a little universe on it. Here, I have a challenge for everybody. If you want me to eat poop, I need you to subscribe to my channel, get me 1 million subscribers.
You see where I'm getting at? You could see that Andy seemed kind of normal. He was living alone and he was doing alright until a certain switch flipped in his head. But the more you look into this, the more you will see that how things smell quite funny here. Mostly because of Andy.
You bullied me and you get away with it! I want to throw up my diapers. I don't want help anymore. He said I need to.
The question now is how we know so much about Andy's life. These lolcow creatures have an irresistible urge to share everything they do online. But in Andy's case, it's a bit different. Andrew records most of his encounters with other people himself, as he merely wants to record proof that he's being abused by his parents and other authority figures. Andy is unaware that recording private conversations or taking pictures of medical documents is even potentially illegal. It seems like there are some inconsistencies in Andrew's claims. For instance, on his blogspot page he mentioned that he started to talk when he was 5 years old, but then he contradicted himself by stating he couldn't talk until he was 14 due to his autism. The difference is only 9 years, I mean nothing major. This is probably getting on many nerves, as faking an illness is definitely not something you should do, and it's definitely evil, especially if you do it with purpose. Andrew in his glory days would also run a website which was dedicated to tech support in his area. Later he even made tech related videos before he derailed into the land of insanity and went on a never ending downward spiral. Just to prove you that he's not suffering from autism, this is a recording phone call with the Office of the People with Developmental Disabilities.
In February and March 2019, age 33, several psychiatric reports were completed by Trinity Medical, Western New York, PC, and Erie County Medical Center for Mr. Ditch, attachment 16. While some of these reports indicate that Mr. Ditch had an autism spectrum disorder, none of them reference any testing to support this diagnosis. The Erie County Medical Center noted in its March 7, 2019 report, SW-APIC referral details. Per collateral, Andrew has an IQ of 80, central auditory processing disorder, and another processing disorder. He does not have autism.
But again, Andy doesn't want to hear about it, neither does his brother, and he hates Andy because of his pretending, but also how he treats his parents. The only way to cope with Andy is to blow a trumpet at Andy so he goes away, which is quite hilarious.
And please move, I gotta go to the bathroom.
No, I don't.
Move, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Then go. I'll follow you.
You're not following me,
I'm going
because then you're
downstairs to make sure you hear how I feel. I don't want you. I don't want you my ears. I'm not gonna let you hurt my ears.
We also need to address that Andy frequently goes to the bathroom, or at least he should go, so I don't know if he needs them or loves them, but he definitely has a diaper fetish. He's always keeping a log where he's writing every tiny detail about when he goes number 1 or number 2, so do what you want with this information. But I don't wanna dive into his love for diapers anymore.
So yeah, this is my potty log today. Last night I put on my crinkle at 10:43, had to change at 4:50. Yeah, it was very soaked. If it wasn't for my dogs waking me up at that time, I would not have been able to change.
And the frequent infections that would pop up. I don't have the stomach to show you all of this because, trust me, it's truly sickening. And also, for whatever reason, Andy smeared the hotel room with his shit, which was just a great surprise for that poor soul who needed to clean this room after him.
Before. So guess what? This is what my hotel looks like. Never needed a diaper before. I'm checking out.
Also, he would beg his parents to change his diapers, which is a way for making his fetish come alive, I think. I don't know nothing about this. Again, I wanna hear your thoughts about this. There are definitely many things to sit and argue about here, but let's leave it at that Andy just loves his diapers. Now, a thing that quite bothers me is also that Andy has a tendency to go to the hospital, quite frequently actually, to be treated for things well he doesn't suffer from, where he would even attack the hospital staff if they didn't treat him like he wanted. If the hospital staff doesn't do anything about it, he would scream and even spit on them.
Yeah.
What is the address?
I'm scared.
Look at me.
I'm scared. I don't know what's going on. I'm scared.
Can I walk you out here?
No, I'm too scared.
Yeah, we can change the cab to any address.
I'm scared.
As long as you know the address.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
You said you wanted to go home.
I don't want to go home. I want to be admitted for my health and safety. I'm scared.
This is quite sad to see, as I know many people who are working in hospital, and from my knowledge they are so hard working people and they often aren't paid as much as they should be. And to have somebody like Andy bother them with his nonsense doesn't seem fair to those people. It's evident that Andy needs to be put somewhere where he is completely supervised. Also, one time he threatened to do suicide by walking over a crossroad as he screamed at the staff he doesn't know how to use one, and it would be their fault.
I'm going to get hit by a car, you bitch. I'll take the cab to Dad's house so I can sue you. I want to get hit! Hit me! Hit me! These don't want me alive!
All the things I said about the medical stuff is happening to the police also, because he loves to mistreat them and often offend them. And he's calling them on a daily basis. It's like he doesn't know how the hospital and the police even work, and he's just seeking attention and validation from them. It's insane. I love how there is a cop who'd frequently visit his house, and you can see that he's quite unhappy from being there for God knows which time.
Hi. What's going on? I was hoping to get a call because I'm heard you were bad.
You did get a call.
I did? What?
You did get a call and nobody picked up.
Oh, I think my phone is. I'm being cyberbullied.
And take your stuff offline.
Well,
you've been told a million times.
Yeah.
The stuff you talk about online, you're asking to be cyberbullied, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about it.
Also, his parents are quite elderly and he uses them in different ways, like the oil diffuser incident. On March 13, 2020, Andrew was using an old diffuser for his so-called coping skills. This was bothering his mother, who was on oxygen at the time, as well as his dogs. But Andrew's parents gave up and finally reported him to the police, who would tell Andy to turn off the oil diffuser, but Andy still refused, saying that this was a request and wasn't a court order, and because of that they simply arrest him.
That I had no problem using all along.
He's refusing to shut this oil diffuser off.
Because it's my coping skill. You can't just deny somebody right to help them relax.
It's bothering Mom. She's on oxygen. She's sitting at the table.
And she didn't even ask me. And I'll have it for my disability.
Okay, sounds good. Alright. Bye-bye. Okay, you can go to jail then.
For what?
For harassment.
For harassment for something that's using it for my disability?
Yeah, because you're being unruly. This is ridiculous.
How is it unruly?
I'm not going to argue with you. I don't have to. Get your lawyer to talk to me.
Stand up and put your hands behind your back. You're going to be charged with resisting arrest.
I didn't do anything. Stand up! Right now! Hurting me!
Stand up.
You're hurting me!
Stand up.
You're abusing me!
Well, that's what happened.
I want to die because you don't want to help me!
Like I said, his parents are elderly people and Andy apparently loves them, but there was an incident one time where his mother fell from a chair and needed desperately help, and Andy was sitting and filming everything and waited until his father came to help his mother to get up on her feet while he filmed all of this.
No, that's no, Andy.
Dad, why is the chair backwards like it is then?
Try to hang on to it to catch your fall.
No, Dad, I was watching her.
Hurt yourself by breaking.
I was watching her. She was sitting on the chair and she fell off of it.
Oh, this is just sad. The lack of empathy towards your parents who let you live in their house and are feeding you, and the way how you're repaying them with things like this is just sad. But this wouldn't stop at things like this. He would also quite frequently verbally abuse them, destroy things around the house, or sometimes just simply spill drinks to annoy them. For whatever reason, he would often hit himself to the point that he starts to bleed.
I'm not going anymore to the doctors. I asked you to help me.
Apparently, once he told his parents that he was abused by his older brother, mentally but also in a way, some would feel some empathy towards him because of this, but I assure you that Andy isn't someone who we can trust, as he is also quite dangerous. Yeah, you heard me right the first time I said it, he tried to poison his family. Now the plot twist was that Andy's father said this wasn't the first time. Andy was accusing his father he was doing the same thing to him, but he was simply giving him medicine for his bowel movements. The problem was that Andy didn't just put a few drops in their drinks, but he overdid it, and because of this his family had intense pain. He even landed in prison for 30 days.
Accused of spiking his family's food with dangerous levels of Epsom salts and laxatives. 7 Eyewitness News reporter Ala Arabi tells us more.
Police in the city of Tonawanda say 34-year-old Andrew Ditch spiked his family's food and coffee with laxatives and Epsom salts. Ditch allegedly sprinkled the substances on food and put laxatives in the reservoir of the family coffee machine. According to authorities, family members complained of nausea, abdominal pain, and severe diarrhea. Police say this all started in late October, and they're not saying anything about a possible motive. Ditch now faces a number of charges, including 2 counts of attempted assault. He's been arraigned in court, and bail is set at $5,000. He's expected to be back before a judge for a felony hearing Friday morning.
So why is this guy online in the first place, and why is he showering us with this golden type of content? Well, there is no end goal. The problem is that he contradicts himself so often it's hard to keep to track or even to believe anything he says. And I think that every parent would be scared seeing Andy on a playground screaming, yelling, pooping, and even once exposing himself to children.
There were kids playing on the basketball net, and I recorded it. Oh, my interaction with them and everything. I'm not a predator. It's all on tape. It's all on tape. Nobody has to worry because if I was a child predator with kids on the...
Besides his mistreatment of his family, where he even tried to poison them, he claims that he is the victim and uses this to justify his attacks on his parents, stating that it was in self-defense. He also calls the cops and hospitals to seek validation from them. As of his use of diapers, I prefer not to discuss his bowel moments anymore, so let's move to the next topic.
Admit that Norm Macdonald is funny. Do it now. There just seems to be so much hatred there just because you put out a tweet against a comedian.
This is what this group, this cyberstalking cult, does for fun.
Let me take you down a rabbit hole suggested by Jillian on my previous layer. Patrick is a quite interesting fellow. He's also someone we could consider a failed sci-fi author and a comedian. Even if comedians do have thick skin, this guy is the complete opposite of that. Like a real lolcow, Twitter is his hive where he spends his days and where he is first spotted and transformed into a lolcow. He was very proud of his sci-fi book series, which sounded quite generic if you ask me. Apparently some of them even plagiarized works from the 90s, if I'm correct. Wait a minute, he's a son of an ex-hippie psychologist and an ex-cowboy electrician? Well, this explains quite a few things, I think. But enough of his books, as there isn't anything to write home about. Other things that Patrick enjoys is riding a motorcycle, to be more precise a Triumph, just to embarrass the Harley drivers. And when you write such things down on your About Me page, it just reflects your true character. As I said, he was a proud Twitter member and a verified one at that. And he would show off that tag like a banner dropped from a castle for everyone to see. Sadly, his happy reign on Twitter started to crumble down after he attacked Norm Macdonald and failed miserably. This would initiate a conflict in the comment section and led people to realize that Patrick is an easy target for trolls. He is one of those people who would attack every troll and make sure that he researches every corner of the internet just to see if somebody is conspiring against him. So Patrick, if you're watching, hello, and I hope you're enjoying this video, child. Also, for whatever reason, he loves to call people children, and I think this is also an insult.
To us and in public, so
No,
now we know.
child, I haven't.
Yes,
No,
child,
child,
you
I
have.
No, child, I haven't.
Yes, child, you have.
No, child, I haven't. You see, this is where you keep screwing because you don't actually listen to what I'm saying.
Okay, I'll make sure to accompany those interviews with screenshots of text messages where you said that you're paying for all of this with your own money.
He would often comment to end the lives of his troll or send them to prison. I love how there is a Twitter account based upon his toilet and he's continually fighting with his toilet account almost on a daily basis. Even if I don't condone harassment in any way, this is quite funny. As you can imagine, there are many more wild stories here, but I wanna highlight just a few of them. Like where a screenshot was leaked how a troll had a quite brilliant tactic to attack Patrick. Thank you for signing up for Adult Diaper Shed. Our services is for users 18 and older. Reply yes to accept our service agreement, $6.99 per month. Reply stop to cancel, message rates apply. The problem was that Andy didn't write stop, but he answered with no. Then the message would continue. Thank you for accepting our trial service. You will be billed a one-time $4.99 fee for this 2-hour limited trial. Hot, horny diaper queens and hungry for your asshole are ready to fight. Have you ever smelled a right diaper? Still full of hot shit? I might just think about it. And then finally, in desperation, he would answer with stop.
It's time to stop.
I mean, I don't know what to say about this. It's like some South Park prank. But this trolling wouldn't stop. The trolls are basically consuming his whole life. This would go so far that he was even swatted like 50 times.
Surrounded by cops on his own property, this man is being detained, but he did nothing wrong. Someone had called 911 falsely reporting that the homeowner, Patrick Tomlinson, had just his wife, Nikki, the Milwaukee couple says they've been swatted 42 times.
Swatting somebody is definitely a dangerous thing, and it isn't funny at all. Even if SWAT members are trained professionals, you never know what can happen. Also, on a forums is a site where he is targeted and discussed the most time, and he's there frequently called Patrick instead of Patrick, which really pushes his buttons. As you know, lolcows are just fun and games, but horrorcows have that extreme gene to it, so let's talk about some things that are not so funny. In 2011, Patrick was arrested for threatening his daughter and pregnant wife. He was arrested for this, and it was later discovered that Patrick actually wanted his wife to give birth so he can kill all three of them. And this is why his wife divorced him, and this is probably the same reason why he didn't get the custody of his daughter. He doesn't have any contact with her, and she even changed her last name to completely cut ties with him. But shortly he had found a new wife, aka his replacement wife, like he calls her. And Patrick loves to brag about a sex life, very mature indeed. Well, at least more mature than some of his trolls who state that Patrick loves to kidnap black children and grind them into pepperonis to feed his sausage addiction. Which is quite disturbing, but it really grinds his gears, and this is what counts for trolls, I guess. He even had an outburst in court over these jokes.
I was kidnapping African American children and grinding them up into pepperoni in my basement. Which they all thought was absolutely hilarious, didn't you? Yeah. Sure, don't do that.
People even made an ad with a child where he stated he was selling homemade pepperoni from his basement. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Also, he tried to sue many people online, from book critics to trolls, everybody who is against him. But he lost this case and lost around $83,000 with interest. And if not paid, he would end up eventually in jail. Also, this was partially funded by a group called SFVA, or Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America, who apparently also had some problems with PDFs among their ranks. The leader of these writers is a guy who is a member of a group called NAMBLA, which is a group about man-boy love, which is just ugh. He wrote a book in the 90s about kidnapping and SAing a young boy, and the most disturbing part is he apparently gained quite a support because of the book, at least from those people who are into this stuff. I mean, just to be connected to such people is very weird. There are many different sagas in his life. Like the one time a troll convinced him he was doing an interview for Vice. It's a completely insane story. Listen to this.
I can, yes.
Okay, I was just gonna say that I spoke with my supervisor about getting in contact with you. She says that you're a fat with bitch tits, so we're gonna have to cancel the article.
Oh, well, the problem with that, sweetie, is that we already figured that out.
You already figured out that you're a fat bitch tits?
No, we already figured out that you're a complete posing liar, and by the way, you weren't the only person.
Oh, okay, is that why you did like 2 hours of interviews with me? You're just that intelligent?
Yes, child.
What'd you say?
Yes, child. So what do you think you're going to do with those 2 hours of interviews exactly? Go ahead and explain it to me.
I'm gonna post them on YouTube.
Good for you, child. What do you think that's going to accomplish other than showing you to the sociopath and loser that you are?
It's also gonna show that you're a gullible liar, and that you're also fat.
No, child, it won't, because I didn't lie to you in any of those interviews. That's the only problem you guys keep having. You see, I've never lied to you about anything. That's the problem you keep coming back to. Everything I've ever told you has always been true and accurate.
Oh, so you're paying for this lawsuit out of your own pocket? Yeah, that's totally not a lie. Mentally healthy people wouldn't react like this to a prank call, you fat faggot.
Your fucking mouth, child. Don't speak anymore. You have nothing to say. That's why you always go back to saying the F word, because you have nothing to say.
That's an accurate description of you, Patrick.
No, child, it is not. It
Yeah,
is
it
a
is.
lie. It is a delusion that you have to believe in order to continue functioning.
Okay.
You have nothing to say. Nothing you believe has ever been true.
So what did Judge Stein say that makes you think that you're going to win the lawsuit? Even though you told Josiah that he's probably not going to rule in your favor.
See, that's the things that are coming out of your mouth, child.
You drunk fat.
Nonsense, babbling, insanity, delusions. You have nothing to say, and you have never had anything to say at any point.
Patrick also gained the name Tough Guy, where he claimed he beat up Nazis at his local bar and that he has much fighting experience. Probably that's why he plotted to attack his family, something that Patrick suffers from some humiliation fetish where he just needs to be humiliated so he can be at the center of attention. This is why he is always online and answering every comment and having public outcries. He is definitely a Horrorcow, but Horrorcow is yet to be debated, but his ties to NAMBLA are quite suspicious. But I mean, he also tried to kill his wife, daughter and unborn baby, and this is extreme. If you're interested in the whole story of Patrick, I would recommend you to go to the channel called Cryptic Web Chronicles, who does a very good job by documenting every his step.
Right? Yes? The North American Man-Boy Love Association. What? No, we're the North American Marlon Brando lookalikes.
Oh crap, we've got the wrong NAMBLA.
Oh, damn it, I'm in the wrong place.
Maybe calling people pedos on purpose in response to pushback isn't what? Isn't a great thing? How about you fuck out of my chat? No one loves you. No one in your entire life has ever loved you. They all pretended to like you. Leave this place. You're not welcome here.
This is quite a hot topic I didn't want to touch upon, but say hello to Kefuls. Before you start accusing me of Kefuls not being a Horrorcow, I wanna show you her story and the things she has done so we can have a debate about it. She's a Canadian Twitch streamer and YouTuber who primarily makes LGBT related content and topics concerning the left wing of the politics spectrum, but also advocates for a safe internet.
You're a little fat Jims. You're a little fat Jimsy. I'm gonna bully you as much as I want.
She was also advocating for a communist party in her early years on Twitter before starting to spread homebrew hormones to minors. You see, we are getting there. I don't wanna dive too much into political stuff as I don't think this is the time or place for that. Somehow I feel Kefuls is on that side of the politics from which the wind blows, as we say on the Balkans. What important is, besides having a poor career for a time, not much is known about her early life. She started to use her nickname Kefuls in the games she played growing up. By the time she was 12, she realized she was trans and started to transition when she was 16. After a 42-year-old woman helped her get the stuff she needed to start her transition. When she was 18, her family went to Thailand for a gender-affirming surgery in 2013. Her father was very supportive in all of this. When her father passed away, Kefuls' life started to crumble down and she spiraled into a opium and alcohol addiction.
Started doing coke and meth and bezos, and I was planning on ordering him from the dark net.
Also, at the time she was 18, as I mentioned, she wanted to make a name for herself in the adult movie industry by releasing videos under the name Sky. So, only sky is the limit, I guess. Something that did drive a lot of controversy over the years when she created a Twitter/Discord channel called Catboy Ranch in 2021. This server was apparently used for, some would say, grooming of minors, sort of. She was accused of that, but apparently there is no proof which backs up these claims, as far as my knowledge goes. Members of this group were called Cat Boys, while Kefuls called herself the Rancher. She would send callers to her favorite cat boys with tags on them that declares them her property. Please note, it's boys, not men, for whatever obscure reason. If this sounds a bit kinky, it's because it is. 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥𝙡𝙖𝙞𝙣 did shut down the Discord after some details came to light. But what we do know is that some minors in the group had access to some adult content. There is also a quite weird and questionable screenshot leaked from this server with a 13-year-old boy. Of course, she denied everything about it and stated this wasn't true and the calls were only sent with permission to 18-year-old boys. But what really catapulted her to the fame was her beef with Destiny. On March 2022, Destiny hosted a stream in which he reacted to the Leah Thomas controversy.
They're like, oh, we respect Leah as a woman, as a trans woman, whatever, we respect her identity, we just don't think it's fair. You can't really have that sort of half support where you're like, oh, I respect her as a woman here, but not here. They're using the guise of feminism to sort of push transphobic beliefs. And I think a lot of people in that camp sort of carry an implicit bias against trans people.
Destiny criticized the notion of trans women in sports and stated she should not be competing, at least not right now. This bothered 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥𝙀𝙭𝙥, who accused him of bullying. This resulted in him being banned from Twitch indefinitely, a blow that the streamer didn't foresee, and just like that, Destiny lost a revenue source where he would make a couple of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Now people like Nicholas De Oreo and Lauren Saunton have criticized this decision, believing the ban to be unfair, noting Destiny's pro-LGBT history and that there were other streamers who did worse things and weren't banned. Well, 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥 at the time felt almighty, because she managed to do so much damage to a prominent streamer like Destiny. She even criticized Destiny for doing stealthing, which is the act of taking off the protection without your partner knowing it.
Oh yeah, meanwhile he stealths people, which is legitimately a form of insane. Isn't that what... Wait, I don't know if he did it. Wait, backing up, I don't actually know if he did it.
Now, besides being in the Communist Party, doing pornos and having a group that has some very questionable morals, comes something that is quite alarming in my eyes, and that's how 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥 started to promote hormones to minors. Showed how they can get their hands on without any permission or prescription from a doctor or their parents. The worst part is that the seller who made these hormones says they are homebrew medicine. Ordering some random drug from Brazil to insert into your body without the proper supervision of a licensed doctor is insane. Just to state, I'm not against this, but there is a way how to do this. But 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥 has more things that raise eyebrows, and it's a very infamous event that happened just recently. Because of the things 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙥 did online, especially resulting in Destiny bans, people started to wonder who was this girl. On Kiwi Farms, a thread was created and it started to grow like grass.
How did the Kiwi Farm stuff even start? They noticed me because I started doing Twitter ratios. And they went from getting mad about Twitter ratios to digging up every single thing in the last 28 years of my life, looking for more reasons to be mad at me.
Because her address was doxed by Kiwi Farms, somebody used her name and made a lot of threats in the area she was currently living in, which in the end resulted that the police needed to step in. The next day she was spotted.
On August 5th, I was woken up by London Police Services, pointing an assault face at my home. Go into my apartment until after I was in custody, and they had a search warrant signed.
And later they called her by her birth name and misgendering her.
During the arrest, the police officer referred to me by my dead name. I was booked in the station under my dead name. The police, when talking to my mother, referred to me as her son.
The police would also take all the electronics for investigation, thus she was not able to stream.
Because of the negligence of the police, we were both left functionally unemployed. And I have spent thousands of dollars replacing our computers and cell phones, so our lives aren't completely destroyed by what happened to us.
She was basically begging online to gather money so she can get back on track and move on. She also talked about how she was completely traumatized by this event, and she would appreciate if people would donate money to her GoFundMe page. The money will be used to make a legal case against the police.
I started a GoFundMe to move immediately, recoup my losses, and build a legal fund to protect my rights.
But just a few days later on global news, the story changed.
I went into the hallway and then saw that I screamed, and I thought I was going to.
London Police Service confirmed the arrest to Global News. They added Sorrenti was released without charges and
people also discovered that Kefals did receive her electronics back after just 3 days. But she would continue to raise the money on the GoFundMe page.
People kept asking me why I'm raising the goal when it hits the goal. And the reason why is because, yes, I'm using these funds to move. But more importantly, once I'm safe, the rest of those funds are going to be used for legal expenses. Because I'm not just moving. I'm also taking legal action. I already have 1 lawyer, and I'm consulting with 2 more. I'm going to get justice for what happened to me, and for every other marginalized person in this country who has been victimized.
Over the next months, she would be doxxed multiple times as she tried to move from one location to another.
I live at 308 Negra Arroyo Lane, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 870.
And people quickly realized that the GoFundMe money was completely misused as she used the money to travel around Europe. A lot of attention was definitely when Mudahar made a video about her, which spread like wildfire. Again, this escalated in quite a mess.
Looking back years upon years of internet history to come to an actual conclusion of one of the most dangerous people on the web, an international transgender activist that some of you all may know as Kefals.
But now comes the question, is she a Horrorcow? Well, perhaps not a real one like Andy, Isabel or Christian, but come on, lying, deceiving, manipulating people, creating fake accusations to others and misusing money, all of this is bad. But how she was promoting homemade hormones to children is somewhere where I drew the line and would say that she is a danger to her community. If somebody wants to take hormones and change their gender or anything else, I simply don't care, it's your body after all. The problem that I have is when somebody is trying to sell some bad brew to kids. Because we don't need to debate that this is quite dangerous, as there isn't any medical professional overseeing this process. And the fallout of this could be life-threatening. There is a way how to do this, and this is the one. Hell is empty, and all the devils are here.
Hello everyone, this is Barbecue. Today, I'm going to teach you how to flush a diaper down the toilet. Now normally, you wouldn't do this. It can cause problems with your septic tank or sewer system. But today, I'm going to show you.
The further we dive in, the more degenerate people we discover. Their actions and behavior are making me lose hope in humanity. This entry leads us to a special group of people we already touched upon in my worst YouTuber series. Kara the Wolf was subject of that special series, and Pamperchu is the star of this layer. Furries are a community of people often looked down upon for all the wrong reasons.
I hate monkeys, and I want to kill an animal. Well, I don't know if you guys are the Gorg people, but someone's gonna come over here. Hopefully, we can take apart an animal together. I'll keep it clean. I don't care if it gets on the carpet or the walls. And also, I'm gonna eat it. I'm not just gonna take it apart and it. No, I want to learn. I have never done it before, but I really like that stuff.
They are usually individuals who have a strong interest into anthropomorphic animals which possess human-like characteristics such as ability to talk, walk, etc. A significant amount of dislike stems from the misconceptions about their furry community. Some people wrongfully assume that the furry fandom is primarily focused on fetishes and sexual activities.
Right now, I'm craving children. Like, I really want a child. But I know I can't have that in my life right now, so I have stuffed animals.
This is not always the case, but one thing that definitely didn't help the reputation among the public is how there have been many extremely controversial cases over the past few years. We made a deep dive into the gore community with many people commenting about their beliefs and moral standpoints, but this video will not dive into the furry community, as this will be a standalone video at some point on my channel. This entry will be dedicated to just one of their members. 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙡 is a very extreme case, and I found out he isn't popular in the furry community as his beliefs are sickening.
But I like children. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a bad pet. I just like children. I mean, I like to cuddle up with them or, you know, hang out with them and do stuff, you know, feed them, things like that. I'm not like a or anything. No, I would never kids, but at best, I might jack off if they wanted to do it with me. I mean, they can do it themselves, or we can do it side by side, you know. I'll show them the fursuit head and stuff. But no, I'm not gonna be mean. I mean, or that's not mean, but I won't do anything inappropriate. That's what I should say. What I mean is, I don't want to stick it in. I can just play with their feet if they don't mind. But they have that on Telegram too. You can look at kids' feet all the time.
𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙀 also provided us with almost 20 years worth of content. His infamous career started on YouTube in 2007, besides being active on many different forum sites. People who interacted with him quickly realized that 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙀 has quite a few weird fetishes that raised eyebrows. One of them that he is into the ABDL. What's that, you ask? I just love to expand your horizons. ABDL is a form of age play that involves role-playing and age regression to an infant-like state. Paraphilic infantilism would be the medical term, but basically he is an adult baby who loves that people take care of him. This state of mind is truly special in its own way. These people would often wear and use diapers, cuddle with stuffed animals and drink from a bottle, or suck on a pacifier, which is quite normal behavior for an adult if you ask me. Or sometimes in the more extreme cases they would have a mommy and daddy who would do things for them, as they enjoy being dependent on someone. And if you're wondering now, yes, this includes changing their diapers. If you finish it vomiting, don't put the bucket away just yet, as there is more to come that makes this look like child's play. Just to state, 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙀 was born on July 12, 1988, making him a 35-year-old addict diaper-wearing PDF, which is actually a furry. This is a special combo you don't see every day. For you interested in his persona or fursona, it's a blue wolf named Sandy Wolf, a suit made by him. Over time, 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙀 would dive more into ABDL and he would change his persona to a baby bunny, which does reflect more on his love about age regression roleplay. He would also proudly wear his bunny suit in public places, like in this video where he visited Burger King.
Hi everyone, it's me, 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙀. I'm here at Burger King, enjoying a burger, and I got a Slurpee. It's not a 7-Eleven Slurpee, it's a Burger King Slurpee, but it's still Coke. On to the next adventure. I think it's a thrift store.
Now his nickname is quite interesting but quite simple. 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙀 is a reference to Pampers, the brand of diapers, and Pikachu, so the name combines two of his favorite interests. His first traces online are quite hilarious and disturbing at the same time. Somebody totally random would post this on a forum. I can't buy diapers, so I just go to trash to find some. What do you think? Is this a good idea? 𝙀𝙭𝙥𝙀 is always willing to help and answer with this. I do it and it's safe, as long as you know what you're doing. Wet diapers are very safe and can be reused, but poopy diapers can make you sick, so just be careful. I have saved wet and poopy diapers from a dumpster for over 10 years and never been sick. I love the smell of old diapers and I love getting them for free out of the garbage. You can microwave them really hot and off the bacteria and the germs, then let them cool down before wearing them, or you will burn yourself. Everyone seems to gross out from used diapers on this side. If you like dumper diapers, go for it, just be careful. I never thought I would read something like this loud, but we reach new heights every day. He would also explain how he reheats his diapers in the same oven where he warms up his expired canned food, as according to him, canned food can't expire. This, ladies and gentlemen, is quite interesting behavior to behold, and I don't know what is more sickening, the thought of him of eating some unhealthy canned food sitting for decades in a can, or the thought of him using the same oven to keep his diapers warm. To top it all off, the microwave he uses is from the 1970s, and I hope it is quite obvious that this is quite harmful to his health, as technology did evolve a few steps ahead in the last few decades.
But yesterday I went in for just another appointment, and they finally had a diagnosis. They took a few samples out of my lump here. They took a needle and took 3 core samples, and they tested 2 of them. One of them was inconclusive. The other one was that it showed signs of the cancer. So I do have Hodgkin's lymphoma. I'm not worried about it, but everyone else around me is kind of upset and worried.
It's no wonder that he developed cancer due to his lifestyle and the frequent use of this old microwave. His health problems would not stop there. There is also a video where Pembachu explains some demons he's battling, which can also be the explanation of his behaviors, but there is something far more deeper and more complex that alters his way of thinking than simple substance abuse.
But I didn't start drinking until I ran out of what I have been taking pretty much my whole life. So I'm not going to use the words of the actual drug, but one makes you a tweaker and one makes you a heroin addict. Okay? They're pills, you know, but still, I've been taking that for most of my life. And then when the VA cuts you off, well, cuts somebody else off, and then your connection gets lost and you know. So that's why I've been drinking, is because I cannot get the 2 drugs that function with me very well. I don't drink when I do those drugs. I don't even smoke when I do those drugs. But when you have to take care of your own body, and why do we use drugs? Because they work. And so right now I'm trying to go to doctors and get help for that, so I can just get the, get the paperwork that says I can have them. But for the last, sorry, Steve, you look passed out. There you go. So yeah, for the last while, for a little while now, I haven't had more than 2 years, and it's starting to really get to me. I took it for 10 years before that. It's hard to say. Every single video from like 2008 to a couple years ago, I was high on, well, I wouldn't say high, but I was doing those 2 drugs in combination. Yep. And it's no big deal. I obviously not dead, but that's what they keep saying. The doctor's like, oh, you can't have opiates because you'll kill yourself or you'll overdose or whatever. You know what? I went through cancer. I went through a lot of things. I'm not going to kill myself with drugs. It's pissing me off.
Pembachu's life is quite a wild story when you first stumble upon it, but the most important thing in his life is, above everything, is probably the obsessions with his diapers. He would not only wear used diapers, but he would also barbecue them on his old grill, because why not?
Let's see if it's ready. Well, it's starting to melt there. Give it some more time. Here, I'll put it over in the hot section. Delicious.
This would go so far that he would squeeze and stop diapers or try to see what would happen to them if he lets them sit in the sun.
Alright, here. I'll just grab one of these, a blue one, because we gotta do testing. We're doing research here. We're doing lots of research. See, there's a pink one, so then we're gonna see the squish test here.
Pemberton is a man of science and dedication, and not a single diaper was spared for his pleasure and the sake of science. Is this interesting or borderline disturbing? I won't let you to decide. Now Snorky, okay, you presented us with a very disturbing guy who lost diapers, but is there something more disturbing here? Sadly, the answer is yes. First of all, he was living with his parents who financially backed him up in all of this. This would include diaper parties where adult people would gather and act as babies. Quite an interesting theme for a party that I wasn't familiar with at all. So if you don't have any ideas for your next party, here's a tip that will probably surprise everyone. Just a simple warning. If you decide to throw a party while still living with your parents, it can result, just like in Pemberton's case, that you will be deported to live in a shed outside the house. Also, a thing to add that Pemberton has a special love for vintage stuff, so the lovely shed is filled with all sorts of old things. Because Pemberton is also a good businessman, he would do some dirty work on the side by selling his used diapers. Or even more disturbing, Pemberton would sometimes act as a kid and play around with people who call themselves daddies. And they would often feed them, change their diapers, and God knows only what behind the scene.
Okay, hold on dearly now, squirrel, go over there and turn it around.
No. That'll hurt. Squirrel can do it and I'll spin him.
Okay. Here, baby, here's your baby bottle.
My carrot!
And what other neat things do we have around here?
Here's
what's this?
Sadly, like you heard in the beginning, Pemberton likes kids, and not in a good way. There is a leaked voice recording from an app called Telegram, which is an encrypted messenger that is often used by people who want to hide something. Now, what follows is a quite long and disturbing confession he has about children. This could be upsetting, so just a warning, and you can always skip this part if you don't want to listen to it.
I was sitting in the garage in the gallery and on a couch with him, and so I said, Avery, are you a pedophile too? And he goes, yeah, I guess so. But then, a year goes by and he goes, no, I hate that. I'm not into that. Ugh. So, it's hard to tell. Did I persuade him into saying yes because I was right there and his new friend? Or whatever. He really does not like to talk about it. But he might be. Of course, I am. I'm open about it. I'm very good at talking about all of it. And for some reason, every friend I meet, I go, are you a pedophile? I'm a pedophile. Are you one too? And they go, yeah. So sometimes it's just you're trying to be cool in the crowd you're in without offending anyone. So I don't know. I'm not sure he is or not. And yeah, I think saying into kids would be a better term than what we have in America, which is pedophile. But that's the word I've chosen to repurpose because it's exactly what I feel like, and that's what they label it as. But there's plenty of places around the world where they do not have age of consent, and they don't have a pedophile. You see in the news a wealthy male that wants a 12-year-old girl. It's not called the same thing in other parts of the world. What do I want? I want a bunch of little toddlers running around so I can feed them and change their diapers and cuddle with them at night. And if they're like preteens, yeah, of course I'd be okay with, experimenting with them. I'm not gonna stick it in them. Not like that. But that's what children should have. Instead of the sex they have in public school, oh my god, that's a disgrace. I don't see why not. Why can't a 12-year-old that's been cuddling with me all of his life why can't we touch each other and experiment, such as when kids do it with each other? Well, I actually have an education, so I can teach them things. The correct words for the things they're pointing at and whatnot. I'm a safe space. I'm a safe adult. I do not tell on kids. I do not tattle on kids, I should say. And whenever it's ever happened to me, I just keep it our little secret. I've never actually done anything, but I have a little friend that's around 12, and he sure has a shining on me. He sure likes me. There's even 3D generated CP that looks like the real thing. It's very close. And in our country, art is legal. Underage art is legal. You take that up to Canada, you get arrested. But no, we have one of the few countries in the world that lets you do that. That's all right. A lot of people hate kids, but get aroused by them. It's natural.
He would also ensure that it's completely fine that a 15-year-old sent his soft, you know what, into the group, because according to him, as long as it isn't hard, it isn't illegal. The life of Pemberton is so bizarre, it's quite hard to understand. While the ABDL community is already a niche subculture, Pemberton's behavior and association with the extreme elements of this community, including the controversial practice of wearing soiled diapers, place him in even a more isolated part of the internet. Now, combining all of this with someone who is under drugs and alcohol and lives off his parents and off the state is something that just pisses me off. And when we started to peel off the layers, we didn't find a lost soul with a niche interest and a substance problem. Instead, we found someone who is willing to harm animals, himself, and the worst part is that this doesn't stop there, as he's attracted to children, which is even more concerning. I feel like Pemberton should be investigated by the police just to check if all the things he does online are legal. The leaked voice recording and the screenshots are quite unhinged, to say at least. Pemberton's story isn't at the end, as he is still online and he still does upload things to his channel. But enough about talking about diapers and adult babies, and let's dive into something even more disturbing.
Hello everyone, this is Pemberton, and today I wanted to show you my baby powder collection.
Favorite dude named Nick Bate? Nick Bate. Where am I, you may ask? Right here. Under the table.
The first entry we are going to look at doesn't even describe a person. He's just a heartless monster who walks this earth. His story is sickening and yet heart-wrenching. Nick Bate, also known as Dr. Nicholas Bate, is an individual and famous for his grotesque online presence, disturbing confessions, and criminal actions. The unfortunate part is that no one intervened before he committed this terrible act.
I'm gonna do my wife and also some children in their butts.
Looking into Nick's life, he was born on September 1st, 1991 in Pennsylvania. He is a child of divorced parents and his father was a heavy alcoholic and a whistleblower. On the other hand, his mother was quite into religion. This chaotic mix is probably the reason why Nick ended up how he did, as he claimed that his father abused him when he was little. He also had a stepsister, and also a very close family member, which is important to the story, was his aunt Joyce. Nick was that shy and quiet boy in the class, but he would sometimes be considered smart by his teachers. Little is known about his early life, besides the fact that he did enjoy the Mary Jane along with his father until they got separated. He has never worked a day in his life and relies on financial support from his family and social security checks. Later he would move to his aunt, possibly because his mother discovered he would steal her dresses. Nick was heavily into cross-dressing. Being that his parents are quite conservative, they did not approve of this and confiscated his women's clothes. Nick has apparently personality disorder, but this is up for speculation, but more on that later. The few things I already said can give you a hint that Nick's upbringings weren't so good. He once underwent a psychological evaluation and it was proven that he wasn't so intelligent like the teachers thought. I mean, his life wish was to have a happy household, which involved having children with a child. Sadly, his desires would get progressively worse, as you will see, but I wanna start with the tamest thing about him, and that's probably his hygiene. Nick would openly speak about his lack of hygiene, including proudly discussing his refusal to bathe, brush his teeth, or taking care of the household. His way of having a shower is just to get his hair moist or wet. Some would say he has some water phobia, but I can't prove this. Maybe he simply didn't feel like showering. Either way, it's completely disgusting. He also didn't visit the dentist for a very specific reason, and that was that he was afraid that the dentist would sometimes open his neck on the table, which is definitely a fear to have, but I don't think a real one. With that out of the way, we can truly step neck deep into shit. And I mean literal. Nick was into feces as it was one of his fetishes. The medical term is coprophiliac. And spoiler alert, he is not the only one on this list. He would also beat his meat, which he previously smeared with his feces. He even admitted to rubbing his feces all over the walls of his aunt's house, and apparently his auntie didn't throw him out because of this. I think that Nick would openly talk about is how he loves back doors and not the front door, but a front door is okay when it's very young and it isn't opened as much. You know what I'm talking about, but I don't wanna get this video again demonetized like the last few. So again, just a friendly reminder to help me out by smashing that like button and consider subscribing to this channel to see more stuff like this. What a trade-off, am I right? Again, if you don't wanna be disturbed anymore, click off the video, I don't care, as we need to discuss this part to truly show you who Nick in reality is. So, if you're still watching, Nick Bates' online persona first gained attention due to his bizarre and disturbing posts, particularly on platforms like Tumblr and Reddit, along with Kiwi Farms. Nick has terrorized the internet with his gross presence for over a decade. This would include pursuing underage girls on the internet for years, even going as far as stalking them. He would also talk about how the PDFs need a civil rights movement, and it's no wonder that Nick would frequently try to find CP online and didn't understand why CP wasn't legal in the first place, which is just the most unhinged thing I read. But there are two sagas in his life I want to skip completely, as I don't want to drag this video too long. The important part is that he has a Skype chat with someone called Anna, aka his first girlfriend Saga, who posted on the CVC in 2011. It was later posted on YouTube in 2012.
Okay, but you're proving my point. The pedophilia should not be illegal.
It should.
It is
yet another illegal. It is.
Yeah, I know,
but get prosecuted for it. They get thrown in jail for it.
That is what I'm saying, though. It's a stupid law.
And ironically enough, during the call, Nick asked, "How could this be used against me?"
How on earth could this possibly be used against me when I'm not going to have a job?
How do you know you're not going to want to get a job? Someday you might change your mind. And people are going to look at this and they're going to call the cops.
No, son, I do not.
So remember that I said that Nick had a stepsister, so the girl was around 8 when this started to came out. But due to the info we have now, this all started when she was around 5 or 6. There is a chat log, and I won't go through the whole thing as there is only so much I can do right now. It's on the screen if you want to read it. What important is that he discussed how he licked his back door of his 5-year-old stepsister, and the problem for him was that it was quite messy and he could not lick the whole thing as there was just too much dirt around it. And I hate this guy so much right now because I need to describe things like this. This truly makes my blood boil. But Nick had a response about this and denied basically everything. I said there was somewhat of a good ending here, well, at least the best one there could be in this case. On April 29, 2015, Nick was thanks to God arrested. The big problem was that most people believe that Nick had greatly exaggerated both his fetishes and the stories to get attention. But if this only was the truth. On June 17, 2015, Kiwi Farms user Saul Goodman, which is quite a fitting name, attended the arraignment trial and recounted the victim's testimony. He claimed that the things she described were brutal and disgusting to a degree far beyond what was previously being reported, and that her testimony was both assured and utterly convincing, which made having to listen to them all the more horrible. As a result of his crimes, Nick has been sentenced for 40 years in prison, the maximum sentence for this crime, and will not be eligible for a parole for 16 years. Nick Bates' behavior posed to a deep-seated psychological issue. His lack of personal hygiene, grotesque fetishes, and the open fantasies about pedophilia were indicative of severe psychological disturbances. He exhibits an apparent detachment from normal social and moral boundaries, often sharing his belief without any apparent shame. Also, his writings demonstrate a clear lack of empathy. While Nick Bates was often treated as a joke by certain people online, his case is a stark reminder of the dangers of assuming all online deviant behavior is harmless. His presence on online platforms like Reddit, Kiwi Farms and Tumblr attracted significant attention, with threads and discussions focused on his bizarre behavior. However, many failed to recognize the serious risk he posed until it was too late.
I am Christian Weston Chandler, so get it through your skull and call me the real name that God has been given to me.
Hail to the king of all lolcows. He is the most documented person online. Chris even possesses his own wiki page, which details every move he made on the internet. The most important part is that Christian entered the realm of Horrorcows just recently. This is the reason why he is featured on this list about Horrorcows and not the lolcows, even though he was briefly mentioned there. But as he started as a lolcow, you know how this goes. They would document every step they made in their lives. Over time, their uniqueness attracted viewers who would make their life a living hell.
There you go. Reminder that I have psychic powers and abilities.
Because of his trolls, Chris even thought that the reality of video games and anime will merge with our world. Some lolcows possess tamer trolls, while others possess trolls that haunt their dreams at night. Chris had every one of them, even one who wanted to end his life just to be marked as the ultimate troll. Christian has this to say about himself: I am a high-functioning autistic person who was heavily emotionally damaged, artistic inspiration lost with paranoia, deception, blackmail, and in plain hurtful words from those bottom-feeding trolls. I am the hand-drawing original creator of Sonic 2, Rosa 2, and the city of Seal, Virginia, USA. Chris is an autistic person and self-entitled trans woman with delusional tendencies who have been allowed by his parents, Barbara Chandler and his deceased father, Bob Chandler.
And put on a tinfoil hat to show that the man will not take over your minds. A beret will also suffice as well.
More on his mother or his guilty pleasure waifu later.
Hey Mom, say something.
My name is Barbara Chandler.
Are you dead right now?
No.
You're very much alive?
Yes.
How strong do you feel?
Very strong.
Good.
This is the sole reason why I see on the list right now, but Chris's story is just one to behold as his life is truly special.
Okay, now I just feel like I have to do this. First time in here, I feel like I gotta do this. Hello, my name is Apu. I went to
No. You don't have to do that. That's right.
Welcome to Quickie Mart.
Understanding Christian's early lives will provide us with context to his later internet fame and the many controversies that followed.
I tell you a story. It is a good story. You will enjoy story.
So I wanna show you the world of Chris Chen. Chris Chen was born as Christopher Weston Chandler on February 24, 1982 in Charlottesville, Virginia. He is the only child of Barbara and Bob Chandler. Their father Bob was an engineer and his mother Barbara was a secretary. Christian family background has been marked by a degree of isolation, and Chris has a close but complex relationship with his parents, who have been heavily involved into his life. Christian was diagnosed with autism at a young age, which significantly influenced his development and behavior. This diagnosis became a central aspect of his identity. The challenges associated with autism, combined with a lack of social understanding and acceptance during their school years, contributed to difficulties in social interaction and education. Despite that, he was somewhat able to maintain a normal life, but there weren't any lack of weird situations.
Are you ready for your execution, Mr. Glockash? Well, at least my face ain't f***ing orange. Goodbye.
As Christian was still young, he developed a strong interest in a certain anime that would take over the world, and that was Pokemon. Soon after he got his first Pokemon game, a game that I love so much despite being very flawed, that being Pokemon Red and Blue for the Game Boy Color, he started to become obsessed with Pokemon that he even made a whole page dedicated to his favorite hobby and even started to draw Pokemon cards. But also he started to enjoy a certain game under the name Sonic the Hedgehog. Chris fell in love with Sonic and Pikachu. This led to the creation of Sonichu, a character that is a hybrid of Sonic and Pikachu. As you can see, Christian's imagination is quite amazing. This would go even further as he started to create handcrafted medallions in Sonichu's shape. Also, there is a myth floating around that everybody who possesses this special medallion is said that great unfortune will happen to them. So if you have an enemy in your life, this is the gift to get. His adult life, on the other hand, was largely defined by goals of developing Sonichu into a hit, a big media franchise hit that would also help him to be financially stable. From a young age, Christian showed a talent for art and creativity, but he was often considered unconventional and amateurish, but he would only reflect things around him from his unique perspective.
To make sure that this does not go out of context. You know, don't talk. At least I am doing this and I have myself a woman, so there. Jackie, I love you. I want to hold you in my arms, sweetheart. You come out over here and we'll do each other right. Sweet times.
Also, for some reason, Chris changed his name from Christopher, a name that he believed was better suited to his identity at the time. This was long before he transitioned to Christine, and this is also a point in time where Christian's internet activity began, particularly on message boards and personal websites. His webcom Sonichu began in 2004, initially as a person project, but it quickly got attention, but he was also ridiculed from various people online.
I think I proved myself well enough. I was holding on to my manhood, my straightness by having Optimus Prime in my lap, and my Sailor Moon poster behind me that I look at every night to help keep me straight. I was born straight, and I will never be changed that way.
The comic is a combination of Christian's favorite characters and would also reflect his personal experiences, desires and frustrations. Over time, his obsession started to grow and his mental health rapidly declined. He would also gain a significant amount of weight at this time. Like I said before, the comic would reflect on Chris Chen's personal desires, including his quest for love, struggles with loneliness and conflicts he perceived with his enemies.
My follower angry at me and blaming at me. It's my fault. I admit it's my fault. I want everything about my house off the internet! I'll send in detectives, I'll send in police, I'll send in everything in my power! So yeah, please, get everything off of the internet now!
But as time moved on, he really started to blend fiction and reality. Some say this was due to his medication at the time.
Hey, pet friend, Rubber here, Rubble. I'm with you, Rubble. Rubble. Oh, rubble, 2 be carry,
But what was really apparent was that Christian became a target for online trolls, who would see his bizarre behavior and that he was easily mockable. This led to an extensive campaign of harassment that spanned years, and we can also say decades.
Stop that imposter been posing with my name, my address, my phone number, everything! Stop him! He deserves nothing! Die, you! Curse ye,
Trolls would create fake personas to interact with Christian, often pretending to be potential romantic interest or simply just friends. These interactions were usually recorded and shared online, further feeding the cycle of ridicule and harassment. In 2007, Christian was featured on the Encyclopedia Dramatica, a website known for its offensive and satirical content, and there was a whole page dedicated to Chris which was filled with derogatory commentary and distorted facts, which would greatly upset him. Christian would try to retaliate by editing the page, but this would only help the trolling.
I swear to God that I will go to police with every handwritten document that was sent to my family. Back the f*** off! You do not want to get on my bad side again! Or even worse! String that Clodcast! I will put your lights out! Leave me and my friends alone!
A significant part of Christian's online persona was his Low Quest saga, a long-running and very public search for a romantic partner.
I don't know. Are you a pretty woman? Or do you hide a beard underneath that veil? Or do you hide that beard? Perhaps you are actually a dude, or even worse, a hermaphrodite.
Chris would openly express his loneliness and the difficulty he faced in finding a girlfriend, which became a recurring theme in his comics and videos. Chris didn't lose his virginity until 2011, when he paid a lady of the night to make him company. He paid the girl $150 and he would later describe it in great detail. The problem was that many people think that things happened a bit differently than he describes it.
I mean, because if you got abstinence, then what you get? End up being an adult virgin, or even worse, a senior citizen virgin.
Also, quite interesting thing is that Chris openly talked about that he hated the idea of but somehow gave in after years of being lonely, so the Low Quest evolved into a fuck quest. Also to note, Chris absolutely hated gay men, and some observers would probably say that he was simply terrified of becoming gay himself.
You're the shitheads. I'm straight. I'm straight. You're the hoe. Every last one of you. I love China! I am not a pedo fork, you dorks!
But Chris's words do not always align with his actions. Throughout the history, it was apparent that he appeared deeply insecure about his gender and sexuality. Even prior to his gender transition, he had swallowed his own semen and worn a bra. The only reason why he stopped to wear women's clothes was because his elderly mother intensely disapproved. Chris wears the mark of a lolcow, and he would interact and argue with his trolls both online and offline.
And don't ever let me catch you talking about me to anyone else on anyone else's timelines, comment sections, Twitter, or wherever that's outside of your own forum, you trolls. Don't ever let me catch
As
you.
the trolling intensified, Christian's Sonichu comic took on a darker tone. The comics began to feature more violent and aggressive themes, often directed to his perceived enemies, both real and fictional. In the early 2010s, Christian began to identify as a woman and started transitioning, adopting the name Christine Westland Chandler. This marked a significant shift in his identity, and he began to present himself as female both online and in the real life. But this transition was pretty complex, as he faced both support and further harassment from online communities.
I will come down at you with my boys from Nintendo and my lawyer man from Nintendo, Jay-Z, He gonna come down with his boys from Nintendo and the boys at Sega. They're gonna track you down.
Cross would continue to exploit every aspect of his life, often mocking or misrepresenting his gender identity. Christian's financial situation became increasingly worse during this time. He even struggled with employment. The problem was that he was literally unemployable because of his online persona, often relying on social security checks and the support of his aging parents. As the year passed by, Christian's mental health would also appear to decline more rapidly. He became more isolated, and his online content would reflect his growing delusions and erratic behavior. Despite this, Chris continued to post online, often sharing disturbing insight in his life and further blending the line between reality and the fictional world he created in his head.
Die in hell. And I hope the soul of my late dog eats at your souls and kills you in your sleep.
After nearly a decade of a slow downward spiral in every aspect of his life, it was quite obvious that his future didn't look quite bright. But there was a brief period in his life where things started to look bright for Chris. He reconciled with Noel, who would help him to organize a trip for Chris to attend My Little Pony convention. This was arranged on the condition that Chris would complete commission work in exchange for donations. Noel saw that this was a valuable opportunity for Chris to learn to support himself through self-employment, especially in preparation for the inevitable time when Barb would be around. Surprisingly, Chris fulfilled these obligations, producing a significant amount of work compared to the previous months, and seemingly he was quite satisfied with his work and the things he'd done. But during this time, Chris would point out to his close members that he was in a romantic relationship with an older woman and would start to drop hints about her identity. But you know the story about Isabella, a person who we already covered on this Iceberg chart. She was the one to set his downfall in motion. Now comes something that would completely disrupt the whole internet. On the night of 27 July 2021, Chris was on a video call with Isabella. He would start to brag about his acts that he committed with his own mother. Bella would partially record the call with Chris, where he started to speak of his actions, but he would also text her with some more details. Bella would share this around and it spread like wildfire. It completely took over the internet.
I didn't even think that, I knew that you guys had a good relationship, but I always thought, because I'm not huge on Christery and, you know, whatever, I just thought that the whole Sonetry franchise was very interesting, and that's how I got into you when I was younger, right? But I didn't have any idea that Barbara was, that Barbara knew I had that sort of relationship. I never got any of those vibes. But how did you approach her?
Approached her with care and caution.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a time approach. So I just gave her comfort and talked with her, and we just branched out slow and steady. And then I encouraged her positively, let her make the first move. And she wanted to do it. And
she did? Really? She made the first move?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow, Barbara. How did she do it, if you don't mind me asking? What was the first move?
I don't remember exactly. But that was her first move, but my approach was...
While the trolls joked about Chris potentially committing acts before, just few actually believed that he was capable of acting on this impulse and taking advantage of his elderly and possibly senile mother. Anyone who is a bit familiar with the story knows that Chris didn't show any remorse because of this. While in jail, Chris's delusion would completely take over, leading him to believe that he was the reincarnation of Jesus Christ of Nazareth and that the dimensional merge was unfolding as planned. Despite being in jail, Chris maintained communication with the outside world throughout numerous letters and phone calls. In these phone calls, he would discuss topics ranging from jail conditions to his renewed interest in the Bible. In early March of 2022, news surfaced that Chris has been transported from the jail to the Western State Hospital, a mental institution. During this period, he was isolated from the outside world and his activities there remain largely unknown.
You gotta come out where I can meet you. Huh? Huh? Dumbass.
On July 28, 2022, just a day before the anniversary of this infamous incest leak, Chris finally had a court hearing after multiple delays. During his hearing, it was decided that the case would go to a grand jury for at least one felony in charge. But Chris's lawyer, on the other hand, used the autism card, and after spending around 2 years in jail, the internet was shocked when it was announced that Chris was suddenly released on 27 March 2023. By the October of 2023, Chris would make his full return on the internet.
One heart piece.
And I know there is so much here, from his racial outbursts to various phases he had over the years, and I could do a 3-hour video solely about Christian, and don't dare me to do it. In a nutshell, what we have here is a story of a person who didn't fit into society, mostly because his view on life are completely different than ours. His extensive trolling over the years, combined with his illness, led Chris on a dark path that the internet will never forget. How he abused his mother multiple times and how he bragged about it is something quite sickening.
Action!
Hello, my name is Barbara Chandler. I wish to wish Nicholas Cruz happy birthday.
Hey!
Please, bye.
Even if Christian said later in the letter that his mother was abused in his early life and only married his father because of the house he owned, and he would further claim that she was quite angry at him because Chris lost his virginity to a random girl because she could do it as well. But again, I don't know if you can trust Chris's story here. Now, Chris's story isn't at the end, as the story is still going on.